Raulín, what's good? Good to have you with us. God bless you, primo. Let's see here. I bet. Facebook, YouTube, thanks for rocking with us. It's good to have y'all on as well. We hope that tonight blesses y'all, for real. Remember that if you're seeing on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, y'all got a chance to let people know, a chance to share with them, especially on YouTube. It's an easy share button. You can text people. You can do whatever you need to do right there. If you're on Facebook, it's even easier. Share, boom, everybody got it. So
we're expanding.
Yes, sir.
Raul, what's up, bro? What's up, big bro? What's going on, man? Thank you, bro. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
And there we go. Everything's good to go there.
Pastor Carlos, happy birthday to Sebastian. Seabass.
Yes, Sebastian.
It's his birthday. Man. It's his birthday, man. He's growing fast.
Little man growing quick, bro. Little man's growing quick.
Definitely.
That's crazy. So definitely a shout out for his birthday.
Yeah, wishing him the best always.
For real, for real. I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, was Leslie L. Blue's birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Check out Seabass catching up to my Lily.
10 years old. God bless, man.
It's all good. We still young, but it's crazy.
Old.
It's crazy.
Soon to be a teen, you know.
No le diga eso a la gente.
Yeah, they're ready for it. They're ready for it.
Like I tell my parents, we got time. Chill out. We got time.
Yep.
For real.
All right, just giving it a few minutes for, more people to join. In the meantime, for everyone that's on right now, we really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us always on a weekly basis. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is a platform that, we're providing. Again, it's good for all ages. We want everyone to just, we're encouraging everyone to join us, doesn't mean that you have to get on the chat, in the live. You can simply just put your message out in the chat. Let others know if you know anyone that's going through it. We all need that push, that motivation. So definitely pass this on. Just let others know, man. Family, friend, even your children, nephew, nieces, everyone. This is good for everyone. We're just trying to focus on everyone's well-being. So thank you, man. Thank you for really taking the time to join us. Every Thursday. We're on every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So this is episode 10. This is episode 10.
Episode 10. Double
Funny
digits
enough,
right now.
my man Seabass turns 10, and this is episode 10,
Oh, yeah. I see Raulín there put in his man's mustache is 13, though. That's all good. I see, I think that's Sasha right there, devoted since episode 7. I'm just glad I know the Lord spoken to her on a few episodes here.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. We want God to speak to y'all, and that's what's up. So thank you for rocking with us. I'm just glad that the Lord's spoken to you, and trust me, if he did it once, he's going to continue to do it again. So just be expectant. Be expectant,
Amen.
I see we got Lordy gives a hi, guys. God bless you, Lordy. Thank you
God
for
bless,
rocking
Lordy.
with us.
What's going on? Definitely every week. All right. So I guess we're good to get started.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna throw you for a loop because I know you usually bring the topic.
Nice.
You usually bring the topic. Today I'm gonna throw you for a loop. So as I think a lot of people have probably seen on social media, for those of y'all that haven't seen it, it'll be something new to you that you probably haven't seen here in the last few days. But I know it was making its rounds here in the past few days, right? It was what was she? Was she Miss USA or something like that?
Yes, Miss USA.
I think she was Miss USA just a couple of years ago. You had a person that was Miss USA. She was big time social media influencer, if I'm not mistaken. She was rocking on TV too and everything like that. Putting out nothing but positive vibes in terms of what she was putting on the TV, on the social media. You know, unfortunately, you know, she jumps to her death here just a few days ago in New York City. And it's like, bro, but how? You know, you look at yourself and you're like, but how though? Because the way in which she portrays herself on social media, the way in which you see, it's like, smile on your face, smile on your face. And it goes to what we were talking about. You know, you don't know what people are going through, especially on social media. There you are rocking with a smile on your face, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm gonna change it a little bit because I think it's good to cover all bases here real quick. But it's like, you know, it's real easy to say, okay, well, you know, a lot of females that they put the mask on, you know, you don't you know, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but there's a lot of emotions, blah, 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 whatever. But what really throws me for a loop is it was funny because just that day, I don't even remember how it came up. I was looking online, I was looking at some posts or something like that, and all of a sudden it was bringing to memory like why guys don't share the stuff they're going through. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, and what they were doing was they showed, I can't remember who the first person was, to be honest with you, but I remember who the next two were. I remember the next two people were Kanye when he had his breakdown of like a year or two ago, and Tyrese when he had a breakdown because his baby moms wasn't letting him see the kid, and like, you know, a bunch of stuff was going on. And it was like, it was bringing up how for a lot of dudes, they don't, you know, people be like, nah, but even the fellas need to share. They need to take the mask off. They need to share what's going on inside. But for real, you should, and I'm not talking about just dudes even, I'm talking about even this Miss USA. It was like, you go and you take the mask off, you make yourself vulnerable, and then you got people clowning on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, a lot of times you got to think, yo, if I see that you're willing to tear down a Tyrese, if I see that you're willing to tear down a Kanye, if I see that you're willing to tear down whoever, why would I want to share anything? Because all I think that I'm either going to get clowned at, I'm going to be told, like, why you complaining? I'm going to be told all these different kinds of things when it's like, yo, the mental health struggle is real. Like, it's not a game. It's not a joke. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it goes hand in hand with one of the big reasons why, you know, God was bringing us to do this platform is because a lot of people don't want to talk that stuff. But in reality, it's, you know, this is supposed to be a safe space. And some people have shared here, you know, over the 10 episodes that we've done, some people have shared little bits to us, maybe here in live, maybe, you know, maybe in private through a DM or something like that, maybe on a phone conversation, have gone and shared like, yo, but nah, this is really what it is. You know, this is what's really going down. And it's like, yo, nobody is exempt from mental health issues. Point blank, period. Nobody is exempt from stress. Nobody is exempt from things happening in their life that make them like, yo, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? And believe me, it doesn't matter what area you're coming from. Like, this is something, like, for example, with this Miss USA, this former Miss USA, you got beauty.
Chelsea Smith.
Chelsea Smith, there you go. You got beauty. Just because you're beautiful don't make you exempt. She probably had money. Just because she had money didn't make her exempt. You might have fame. Just because you have fame don't make you exempt. I'll throw you even for a loop. You might say, okay, like, oh, but Pastor Carlos is anointed. Pastor Carlos is spiritual. God connects with Pastor Carlos. I'm not exempt. What makes you think that people are exempt? No, ain't nobody exempt. Everybody can be subject to it because the attack from the enemy is real. And in fact, when you go and you realize that these things can be, you know, that they are spiritual, right? You realize, you know, what's funny is that, like, people think they're exempt. But when you realize that it's a spiritual attack, that what you can get hit by is a spiritual attack, right? The person attacking knows your weaknesses. You think, for example, if my struggle is with my finances, you think the enemy is going to attack me with women? That doesn't make no sense. Why would he do that? that wouldn't be an area of weakness for the target. So it's like, why am I going to go attack something that's not a weakness for you if your weakness is your finances? The same way that if somebody's weakness is women, right? If your weakness is women, why would the enemy attack you in your finances? He ain't going to do nothing attacking you in your finances. Or if your weakness is pride, right? You think the enemy is going to attack you by, oh, I'm going to mess around with you and women. I'm going to mess around with you and money. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to bring people to gas you up. Oh, look at you. Look at what you're doing. This is all you, blah, 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 blah. And there you are going to be like, yo, this is all me. Like, I'm the one doing it. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to make you proud. So it's like, you are not exempt from any attack of the enemy, but he's going to know where to hit you. So when it comes to mental health, especially nowadays where mental health is like, it's becoming even more of a battle, believe you me, he's going to hit you where it hurts from a mental health perspective. So I think with this being something that's so fresh, so public, you know, I see Lori writing right there. She was a lawyer too. I mean, you're talking about, you know, you're talking about brains, you're talking about beauty, you're talking about career. It's like, where should this person have fallen off? Nobody's exempt. Nobody's exempt. But how many people mask it because they're afraid? Like, yo, if I hit up Jay Mejia and tell him that my mental health is not good right now, I'm stressed, I've got thoughts, whatever, I'm worried about what he might say about me. I'm worried about he might think like I'm loony. You know what I'm saying? I'm nuts. What's he going to say? Is he going to think about me different? You know what the best thing for me to do is just stay shut. Let me not say anything. I don't want to worry anybody. How many of us tell that to people sometimes? I don't want to worry nobody. I don't want to worry nobody. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. And then it's like it builds and it snowballs and it builds and it snowballs and it builds. And then there comes a point where it's like, at that point, it's like there might be a point of no return for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So what's your thought on this, bro? Because I think it's so fresh and it's been part of our focus.
I'm going to be real honest, man. As you spoke, my heart got real heavy. Started even beating faster, goosebumps, you know what I mean? And the reason why I'm saying is because if our viewers, right, everyone that's watching us, if you listen to us speak, whenever Pastor Carlos speaks, when I speak, whenever we start the show all the way to the end, you would think that we actually rehearse each episode, and we don't. We don't discuss anything for the following episodes, right? Nothing at all. The fact that you hit that subject, you know, and you know, rest in peace to Chelsea Smith. Funny enough, that's exactly what I had in discussion for today.
It's crazy.
You know, it's super deep, man, and I'm still getting.
The Lord wants to speak. The Lord wants to speak.
So I really that's amazing, man. That's amazing. Let me repeat what you said. No one is exempt from suffering, right? And what I wrote down was, it doesn't matter what your tax bracket is, what you do for a living, your job title, how well connected you are, the car you drive, the house you own, you know what I mean, your network. It really does not matter. When it comes to mental illness, it's serious, you know. There's a lot of people that don't take it serious, right? Because again, like you mentioned, Tyrese, right? When he put that video up on YouTube, which is still up on YouTube, you had people making memes off of it, right? Because that's the new thing now.
Yep.
You catch a little clip of something, make a meme out of it, you know? But I'm not going to say no one ever posted to help Tyrese, but I never came across a post which is to help Tyrese in that moment. Like, oh, look at what Tyrese is going through. Everybody shoot a DM. No, it was laugh out louds, what I saw.
Bro, I even put it to you this way. I saw a post of somebody who put, man, I'm going through the same situation right now with my baby moms. And I looked at this Tyrese video and it hit me. But then I laughed some more. And it's like, yo, serious? You just riding the wave, bro. Mm-hmm. Even years later, you just riding the wave. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro.
You know, and it's truly sad. And what society has to do more of, it's like, you know how sensitive I am with this. Because I always go back to the youth, right?
Yep.
Remember, we don't know where this problem starts with Chelsea Smith. Where did she fall off? Where? Mentally, emotionally, where? Was it in the process of her becoming a model, becoming Miss USA? Was it in the process of her having, going to school to become a lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
Was it in elementary school? Was it junior high school? Was it high school? We don't know. Maybe she has a history of where people bullied her, where people always, maybe, critics, people made fun of her, whatever the case is, because we all grow out of it, right? We all know how to handle things, but we don't know what the trauma does inside. So in the outside, we may look fine, because I can tell you that, I've seen it happen to others. It's even happened to myself, But then when I actually learn how to control things, my emotions, how to handle certain situations with others, I never had to get physical, or not all the time, right? Had to get physical, but the trauma is still there, right? So if I see someone else getting bullied, it's like it goes right back to, man, I remember those high school days. I've seen people, get bullied in the staircase, in the lunchroom, and there's no adults around unless you actually go to an adult. But then if you go to an adult to bring the problem to them, you're a snitch, you're a clown, you're scared. And now this is what society puts on us, right? No one is promoting ending bullying, right? Reducing bullying, right? It's like, it feels like the students in schools, how are they going to monitor them all the time? We still see.
Well, and the thing is that you're making it out like not only that, like as if they get to see it. How do you see the monitoring? I'm going to take it actually a step further. I have seen and heard, witnessed some school, administrators that will even go as far, like talking between themselves, and will be like, oh, so-and-so feels like this is bullying. They need to grow a backbone. They need to grow thicker skin. And it's like, yo, but you're not factoring in that what this person is going through, what this child is going through.
Their view
to them is
that's
their view, but it still doesn't change the fact that this kid is truly going through it. Like emotionally, you could feel what you feel. Yeah, maybe they need to get a little tougher. I'm not saying that they don't. Maybe they need to, strengthen up a little bit in that, but it still doesn't change the fact that they feel that way. So it's like, by making a comment like that, you're not addressing the issue. You know what I'm saying? And for some people, some kids will, and even adults, because in some cases you got adults that go through it too. Some people will build thicker skin. You know what I'm saying? They will build thicker skin. But others, what happens? They start to retreat. They start to like move back. They start to shrink away a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, next time it's like, no, I'm going to continue to take it and continue to take it and continue to take it. And then it's like, and then how do they react? In some cases, they react by bullying somebody else. This like not where they are, right? That's some cases. In other cases, they let themselves continue to be bullied for a long period of time everywhere by everybody, and end up with trauma from it. And then in other cases, you got things like school shooters. Come on, bro.
We've mentioned that a few times already.
Let's be honest. The majority of the time you got a school shooter, it ends up being that the kid feels like they were bullied by a bunch of people. It's normally not that, oh, the kid was popular and he decided to still shoot up a school. Let's call it what it is. In most cases, the majority of the cases, the kid ends up being bullied. But what happens? He ended up, these same school administrators, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. This is so terrible. Yo, but y'all were part of the problem because you saw the problem and you weren't doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, but why? Is it because you didn't want to deal with it? Is it because it was too hard of a job to talk to this person? Is it because you couldn't find in your heart to be compassionate?
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it in these days. It's said, though, even the word said itself in the end time, people were not going to have compassion. They were going to lack love. They were going to backstab friends. They were going to do all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They were not going to be appreciative. It's like, we know that this stuff was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a surprise. So imagine, before, you would have people that would want to nurture the kids, right? Nurture the kid, build them up. I mean, nowadays you even got some cases where even the very parent would be like, yo, you got to grow up. You got to,
or man up,
stronger. You man up. You don't got to put up with that. It's sad, bro.
And that's one thing that we've mentioned it a few times in the past episodes. It's very important to speak to our children, ask them how their day is going. You know, how was school? You know, did everything go okay? Even ask them like, what is it that you had trouble with today? Just a simple general question. You know, did you have any trouble today in school? You know, because it can mean with someone, it can mean with a subject. You know, it can mean with a teacher. You just never know. And just having them open up, uh, you know, giving them the access, you know, the wow, you know, mom and dad, they actually listen to me, you know, they actually ask me. Sometimes I know life can get real busy, you know, sometimes with work, business, for those who are business owners. And, you know, this is why it's good just to raise awareness and to, you know, spread awareness. Speak to your children. It doesn't matter how young they are. It doesn't matter how old they are. You know what I mean? Anything can happen to us, you know, in school, at work. So again, no one is exempt from suffering, you know, and that's very important. So I'm glad that you brought that whole situation with Chelsea Smith. It's really sad, you know. Just imagine the stories that we don't hear about, because I'm not sure how many suicides are a year, but there's a lot, you know, and many things can cause it. Um, one thing that I wrote down was there are so many people that suffer in silence. You don't have to. It's okay to seek help from someone you trust. Not everyone is able to help or willing to help, right? We just finished breaking that down briefly a few minutes ago. So you have to be careful because for people that want to open up, right, to others, you have to make sure that this is a friend that, you know, you can actually trust, or a family member that you can trust, you know. Or if you don't have anyone, do you feel comfortable going to a therapist, you know? Aside from that approach, you know, you can also do things to, you know, increase the strength within you. Is it meditation, how we've mentioned in the past episodes? Maybe exercise to relieve some stress. You know, it helps clear the mind. That way, you can actually tackle these issues uh, um, with a cold mind. You know what I mean? Just calm, relaxed, and avoiding the overreacting, right? Because sometimes the way we respond to whatever happens to us or react can actually worsen a situation. It'll make it a lot worse, right? Which is major. And the more we talk about this, the better it is. You know, the better the world would be. As hard as it is to actually change people and change the world, um, why not try, right? Why not try like what we're doing in our platform? You know, the more people that hear about us, the more people that hear about these situations, these topics, the more hopefully people would actually discuss it and spread it, you know.
Yep.
And spread it because it's very important, you know, to build each other up, to push each other, motivate each other, you know, strengthen each other, which is the most important thing. You don't have to know someone to you know, motivate them. You don't have to know someone. Like it's something that I mentioned. I believe it was the first two episodes. Is that I've always been a person who has empathetic, right? I see someone and I can actually sense when someone is going through something. And even if I can't at that moment, uh, I do have an idea, which is we all go through something, you know, whether it's now, whether it's before, or maybe next week, you might go through something. The fact that you approach that person and, you know, just give them a few words, you know, just give them that little push. You know, I've gotten to times where, man, you know, you're different, you know, we need more people like you. I've came across people who are amazing, you know, and it's like rare to come across. And I'm like, this world would be different if there's more of you, you know? And I think that's very important, man, just to push each other.
Well, and I think it's important too to know statistics because statistics are extremely important for people to be able to understand what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And look at these because some of them, you know, some people may not know these statistics. For some of y'all, it might not be new, but I guarantee you, there's going to be one statistic that's going to blow your mind because most people don't think that this is it, right? That this is the case. I've mentioned it before. I don't think I've mentioned it here. I know I've mentioned during some preachings that I've had with our youth and everything like that. But the percentages of people that have committed suicide have increased since 2000, significantly, I would say since 2007, roughly, right?
Wow.
And every year it's continued. Like there was a point in which it was pretty steady. It was like a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down from like 99 all the way to like 2007.
Yeah.
2007, it's like it no longer was like flat or just like, you know, making like little waves. It started going upward. So I want you to think, what has changed in the life of most human beings since 2007? Social media, smartphone. You know what I'm saying? Social media and smartphone.
More access.
So when was the iPhone? I think the iPhone was 2008, 2009, something like that. There. That's where all of a sudden, soon after, a year later, you got app stores, you got Facebook app, you got you know, you got the YouTube app, you got all these different apps, and little by little, you start getting Instagram, you start getting all the apps, right? Mm-hmm. Look at, it's not coincidence. It's not coincidence. People are more attached to the phone. So now it's like, if you're a bullying target, boom, you're going to be bullied 24/7 on there if you got the right person. If you look at social media, we keep talking about, like, what do you see on social media? You see perfection. You don't see somebody going through it. You see perfection. So you're constantly comparing yourself to somebody, and you feel like, dang, like you get brought down, right? So that's statistic number one. We're moving upward in terms of suicide rates. Since 2007, we're up like about 25%. The suicide rate is up like about 25%. That's significant. That's not a joke. That's crazy. And this is just talking about in the United States. We're not talking about anywhere else. So on top of that, the statistic that's going to blow your mind, men are more likely to commit suicide by 4 times more than females. And you would think, nah, but the females are the emotional ones, and they constantly comparing their beauty and blah, 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 whatever.
No, yeah.
The males are the ones that are going through it more, because the thing is, y'all, you know, both male and female are going through it. But a lot of times the female will go and do other things. Like, if I feel that I'm less beautiful, I might buy makeup. I might elect for surgery. I might do dumb stuff like, you know, let men take advantage of me, because by getting their attention, it makes me feel like, okay, like maybe people are paying more mind to me, or whatever it is. Like, you know, it can easily be manipulated in your emotions. But this goes back to what we talked about early in this. When we talk about dudes, they see that, like, yo, naturally, I feel like I can't say anything. I feel like I can't say anything. And then we see the guys that in our mind are probably like, yo, this dude is really dumb for opening his mouth. They're like, see, that's why I don't say nothing, because look at how this dude got clowned. Look at how they're clowning him. He's weak. He's weak-minded. You know, he's weak-minded. Or look why he put his business out there, and now his baby mom's got more info on him, or whatever it is. Like, now you start to get this predisposition in your head as a male, and it's like that makes you more apt to like lock up and not share anything. And what happens when you feel like there's no outlet and you can't speak, you can't share, and you're going through it? Eventually, there has to be an outlet. That's why the male suicide rate is 4 times higher than the female. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you look at the demographics by the age. You know, it's interesting because the teen suicide rates are higher than they've ever been, but the suicide rates actually increase by age. Isn't that crazy? You would think the kids are like the weak-minded ones, right? We really got to pay attention to them. But not. As you get older, you now start to feel more pressure. And I'm sure it has to do with stress at work, competition with your finances. This person bought their house and I still haven't gotten my house. This person has their whip and I still haven't gotten the whip. Oh, you know, on top of that, I'm looking older. I'm feeling older. I feel overweight. I feel you start to look at all this stuff, and it doesn't help when you see, oh, that this person hit the gym. They don't tell you they hit the gym for 5 minutes, but they hit the gym, right? You don't see that. You don't see, you don't see the what the person's really putting out there. You know what I'm saying? And they're making it seem like they're succeeding, but in reality, what's their measure of success? So. And there we are with competition. And that's why as we get older, especially like if you look at the key age, 25 to 44, 45 to 64. Those are the ranges in which the higher suicide rates are performed. Think about that. It's not a joke. It's not a game.
It's huge, and it's like what we mentioned a few minutes ago. It can also be buildup. You know what I mean? The trauma from the past. You know,
Yep.
Everyone has a different level of capacity, how much they can actually handle, right? Which
Yep.
is why, you know, we've always suggested, you know, make sure you meditate, you know, make sure you pray, make sure you exercise, make sure you do something to keep it leveled, because stress will always exist. For as long as we're all living, you're going to experience some type of stress, either caused by
Facts.
you or caused by someone else or caused by something. You're going to deal with stress no matter what. People think that when they have X amount of money, they're going to deal with less stress or no stress because everything's going to be covered. People think that you know, that job that they wish they had, if they had it, you know, they're actually not gonna go through anything. But in reality, there's different levels. Anything you step yourself into, there's gonna be stress. There's gonna be
Yep.
obstacles. There's gonna be walls. There's gonna be people. There's gonna be attacks. People will do harm, no matter what. There are things that are gonna happen that are gonna try and hold you back because you're basically, it's like a video game, right? What happens when you're on level 1? What do you have to do to get to level 2? You have to get through, right? You have to push through. Once you're on level 2, the difficulty increases, right? So
Yep.
now, what do you have to do on level 2? You have to keep pushing, right? Life, though, is never ending. Games do have an ending, right? But and some of them, you know, continue to other parts. But life is just, it keeps going, you know, no matter what happens to us, and we have to stay strong. We really have to stay strong. And you know, the fact that we have this platform and we're putting this information out, expressing ourselves, no matter what we go through, we put it out. I've put out testimonies on this platform. You know, Pastor Carlos has put testimonies on this platform. We've had people in the chat put out testimonies and on the live, you know, joining the video. And it's okay. We're here to tell you that it's okay. And anyone that tells you different, then guess what? Those you can't have around. Whenever you feel some weird vibe, or, you know, your energy is draining, whenever you have someone, you know, close to you, or even if you're in a situation at work, maybe that's not the job for you. So what are you going to do? You can't just get up and go. But guess what? You're going to work towards keep pushing through till you don't need that job anymore and you move on to something else, a better environment,
Facts.
you know, where you surround yourself by better co-workers. You know, if you have any friends and you have to get rid of some, hey, listen, get rid, because, you know, life keeps going and you need the right people around you. You can't have people that are going to pull you back. You can't have people that are going to actually bring you down. You know, this comes first: mental health, your emotional health, right? The finance doesn't matter, because if you're not right up here and right in here, what, the money doesn't matter. What is the money going to do? It's not going to buy happiness. It's not going to buy comfort. You know, money just buys assets, right? Sometimes even liabilities, depending on your decision making, you know? So you have to be very careful the way you see things. You know, it's all about perspective. You know, I want to put this out, especially with what you finished saying. When we pretend, we delay our healing and prolong our suffering. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again. When we pretend, we delay our healing and prolong our suffering. You know, again, it's okay for you to express yourself. If you're going through something, speak to someone you trust. If you don't have someone you trust, look into a therapist. You know, always seek God. You know, pray heavy, because that might be it. If you just put it out there, you never know what you're going to get. You know, and don't expect results just out of the blue. You know, you got to be very patient. You got to have faith.
Yep.
You know, and you also have to put effort in to making those changes. What I just finished saying. If it has to do with people, remove those people that are causing that problem. If it has to do with your job, push through and work towards getting another job where you're going to feel more comfortable, where you're going to be happy, because that's what matters. You know, if any specific setting, even when you're out there, just, you know, recreation, whatever it is, you don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. So you have control over that. I will not go here because I don't feel comfortable there, or I'm not respected there. you know, because respect is another thing.
Yep.
You know, and again, going to social media, I've always been the type to put information out specific ways, right? I'll do it through a post. I don't, if you remember back then, a few years ago, I used to put up images, and in my caption, I basically put myself in other people's shoes in how they were feeling, right? Whether it was a heartbreak, whether it was just stress throughout the day, and I would actually put it out. The comments that I would get, there's many comments that was like, oh, wow, you know, like you have a gift. It's amazing how you express yourself. But then you also had others saying you're draking. If no one's familiar with draking, right? Draking is you're very emotional, you know? You're expressing yourself a little too much. You're soft. You know what I mean? You know, they say those little things. And I'm sure there was people thinking it too, even people that I know. Right? But that didn't matter to me. I didn't care what they were thinking or what they were saying, you know, because everything that they were saying was right behind my back. Where are these people? They're behind me, right? I left them because guess what? I don't need those type of people. I need people that appreciate what you do, what I do for them. The same way I can appreciate what they do for me, you know? And I feel like this is something that we really, really have to put out. It's okay to express yourself. It's okay to put your testimony out there because you never know who is going to help. It's going to help a lot of people. You don't know who's going through trouble with their finances, you know, trouble with a heartbreak, you know, the job that they're in, you know, maybe they're having trouble. They're single parents. We don't know what the situation is.
Facts.
We really don't know. So why are we going to actually use our time and energy to make fun of others? Why are we going to emphasize on, you know, just making them feel bad already worse than what they feel? Why? You know?
And this goes back to what the Lord had to speak before, what was in his word, you know, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, what's the biggest commandment? Like, some people be like, nah, just don't kill nobody and I'm good, you know, or don't sleep with dude's wife or husband, you good. Don't steal from somebody, you good. And they went and they asked Jesus, what is it? And Jesus responded like, yo, there's two commandments that are equal, and you'll fulfill everything else by following these two. Love, you know, the Father above everything else with all your, you know, all your heart, all your soul, your strength, you know, your mind, everything. And then the other one was equal. He said, equally as important, love your neighbor as you would yourself. So what does it mean? If you know that your brother is going through it, if you know your neighbor is going through it, if you know that your friend is going through it, whoever it is going through it, even if it's a stranger, and you could, like you said, you have this gift, you know, it's a God-given, you know, gift that you have of being empathetic, being able to tell when somebody's going through something, you know, like you could walk by them and you can see that they're going through something, but you have that empathy for being able to be like, yo, you know, how you doing? Like a simple how you doing shows that you care. Even though you don't know the person, it shows that you care. And you have to care because at the end of the day, the Lord loves that person. He created them. Like, what bigger, you know, what bigger love can you have than creating something? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he created them. So it's like, if he loves them, that means that you got to love them too. So when you're talking about that you're being empathetic, that you're like, hold up, I'm looking at this person and they feeling like, I can see, like, I'm getting a vibe, bro. You know, that's the Holy Spirit talking inside. Like, this person needs to talk real quick. And you go over there and you go talk to them. It's like, I need to help build them up. There's something, let me just ask. Let me just see how they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Let me just see how they're doing. And then it's one of those things. It's like, yo, you know what? You have to think, why is mental health so important? Mental health so important because what is the enemy always going to go for? The enemy's always going to go for the head. You know what I'm saying? If you're on a battlefield, or, you know, whether your battlefield is for real, like, you know, you're in an army, you're military, or something like that, or your battlefield is on a Call of Duty, what's like the easy way for you to kill an enemy? Headshot. Why? You hit them in the head, boom, that's it, done. Like, they ain't getting up. You hit them in the dome, it's a wrap. They're not getting up. That's it. You know, game's over. You know what I'm saying? But you hit them in the body, you hit them in the arm, you hit them in the leg, they'll live another day. You know what I'm saying? They'll live another day. But you get them with a headshot, that's a wrap. It's not a game. The enemy knows to attack your mind, because if he has your mind all jacked up, listen, you could be sick. You could have cancer, as an example. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but you'll live through it as you're going through the therapies and everything. You know what I'm saying? You could break a leg. You'll hobble your way to everything. You'll be all right. You could break your arm. You could have COVID. You could have the flu. You could have all these different kinds of things. What are they going to do? They're going to hamper you, but they're not going to stop you. You know what I'm saying? But if he attacks up here, how many of us, I can tell you, I'm going to give testimony just very quick. How many of us, when the enemy attacks up here, you're froze? And by froze up, I mean like he attacks here. I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't want to do nothing today. I really don't feel like doing nothing. I see I got a laundry list of stuff that I got to do, but I really don't feel like doing anything. Why? Because the enemy hit me up here, right? He hit me up here, and him hitting me up here in emotions, it's like the whole body wants to shut down, because it's like you got no motivation. You lack the motivation and all that stuff. And you're like, yo, but what do I do? And there has to be a point in which you're like, nah, I got to get up. This is not what the Lord has for me. I ain't playing this game. I'm going to get up right now. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get up and you start to like realize, because you have to pay attention to the attack too. Like, why am I getting attacked up here? You got to stop for a minute and ask yourself, like, why am I getting attacked up here? And the thing is, you're not always going to get it yourself. You're not always going to figure it out yourself, because you're so froze up that like you can't even realize, like, what do I do? Like, you know, you're just there, like you're just stuck. You froze. Sometimes that's why it's so important that you have people follow up, because if I'm like that one day, what happens? Somebody like Jay over here could be like, yo, it's kind of strange that I haven't heard from Pastor Carlos today. That's kind of weird. Let me shoot him a text real quick. You know what I'm discerning in this text that he just sent me? I know him. This is why it's so important to connect with people. Because when you connect with people, you get to know them. So you get to know when a response is not the response that you're used to, where something might be up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if he does his job of reaching out, it's like he's taking a minute to reach out. Let me call him. Or maybe I finally hit him back in a text. Like, I get the call and I ignore. But I send him a message so he doesn't worry. Hey, bro, what's good? And you're like, it might be my imagination, but he don't seem the same. So let me continue the conversation and let me continue to see the responses of. I bet I could see something's up here. You know, I could see if it was my imagination, or I could see if something's really going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's the moment in which you can be like, yo, no, I'm going to talk to you. I need to talk to you real quick or whatever. And you can help to pick the person up, because that person is frozen in what the enemy is doing in the dome right now. And you don't want that. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so important, because some people are going to be real good about picking up when the enemy's attacking up here. Other people need there to be somebody else to be like, yo, I love my brother and my sister. I don't want them to be going through this. And now I'm going to do whatever it takes to pick them up. You know what I'm saying? But that's lacking a lot right now, because most people don't have attention. You know, but right now, what we lack more than anything else is personal attention. We're so busy with so many different things. And if we continue to do that, we're going to continue to also mask up, because we don't want to worry anybody. We think people don't care. And believe me, I've heard all different areas. I've heard men, I've heard women, I've even heard pastors. I had a pastor one time say to me, hey, you know what? Sometimes you get attacked, mentally. You get attacked with your mental health, and you might have to preach on that day. And it'd be like, you know what you got to do? You got to go there with a smiling face and like nothing's wrong. And it's like, I get what the person is saying, right? But at the same time, I also have gotten revelation that, you know what, that's not being transparent. And sometimes the testimony is much stronger for people to know, like,
definitely.
Just so you know, your pastor's not exempt from that. I'm going through it right now. Can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all pray for me real quick? You know what I'm saying? and pray, help God get me through this message. Yo, you know how many people would be like, yo, if the enemy's even willing to attack him, and I feel that, you know, that he's anointed, that he's holy, that he's this or whatever, okay, it's not that I'm doing something wrong, like I'm sinning and I don't deserve the love of God. It's that the enemy will attack you no matter what.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, especially if you're doing what God is calling you to do, wait for those attacks. Those attacks are no joke. When you start walking in what God wants you to do, like, and I'm not just talking about like the ministry. I'm talking about if you walk in the purpose that God has for you, your purpose might be a business. Your purpose might be to be a good parent. Your purpose might be to do a good job at work. Your purpose might be a lot of different things. But if you ask God the direction and you start walking in his direction, you best believe the enemy is going to start to attack you up here. You know what I'm saying? He's going to attack you in areas where you're going to be stuck in here. But, you know, it's so important, bro. It's so important to know.
I can give a perfect example of an attack, you know. Let's just say if you decide to donate goods to others, right? Let's say, the homeless, to feed the homeless. Or let's say if you want to give materials to the youth, whether it's school materials or, you know, just toys, whatever it is, the enemy can simply attack you by, again, attacking you mentally and attacking your finances, right?
Yep.
So now you're unable to make any donations because you just lost your job or they cut your hours, you know?
Yep.
Or you got demoted instead of promoted, you know? So there's different attacks, and just like I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's gonna happen no matter what. That doesn't mean that because you have a specific job, you know, you're exempt from it, and you're not. You know, it's the attacks, if anything, they're gonna get a lot stronger. I love the fact that you mentioned how when you do get attacked, you know, sometimes you don't even want to get out of bed. You know, that means that the enemy doesn't want you to start your day. Mm-hmm. Or it wants for you to start off, you know, and just have trouble all day. What happens when the majority of us, you know, I learned this the hard way. Whenever I wasn't feeling right mentally or emotionally, I let it take over. It affected me in other areas, you know, the people that I was interacting with. It was affecting me with my job. You know, it would give me troubles getting homework done when I was in school at the time, college, you know, but I just kept fighting through. But at the time, it's easy for me to discuss it now, but at the time, I didn't see it that way. I thought it was just unfair. You know, why am I feeling this way? Why is this happening? Why didn't I get this job? Why can't I complete this assignment? Why did I get this grade? But it's all because of the attacks.
Yep.
Right? It's all because of the attacks. And sometimes we're unaware, you know, and we have to raise awareness. The more we talk about it, the more we put it out, the more we learn from each other. You know, what we just finished putting out, discussing, you can actually apply it to your life, to any situation that you may be in or that you went through, to avoid from you going through it again. Whatever the case is, we're here to learn from each other, you know, and that's one thing that the enemy's good at. And when things go so smooth, let's say you're so used to going through something, difficult situations, you know, running into obstacles, and things are going great, I want you guys to change your thoughts. Don't say, this is too good to be true. No, be very grateful and enjoy every second, every moment, right? Because there's going to be hardship moving forward. So appreciate the good moments the same way you should appreciate the hardship, because that's where we learn the most. When things are going good, you know, think about it. If things always went well, we would never learn. We would never be cautious, right? We would never think, I don't want to be where I used to be before, right?
In fact, you might not even move forward in what the Lord is asking you to move forward with, because you'll be stuck being complacent where you are.
Exactly. So it's something that we really have to think about. Change your mindset, you know? Be very careful. Be very careful with that, because you can actually go down the wrong path, you know? And speaking of darkness too, go ahead, Pastor Carl. You want to say something?
No, one thing that I wanted to share,
I don't want you to miss that thought,
because I feel like the Lord wanted to speak here. This continues to go on. There's been a lot of people that have gotten, which was a big reason why we did that was probably the reason number one why we did this platform. We've had God deliver us from so many different things that it's like we wanted people to know the God that we have experienced. We wanted people to get to know Jesus. And it's one of those things that it's like there's two verses real quick that the Lord is bringing to mind. And it's like more and more people, as we've been connecting here over these last 10 episodes, have gotten to be like, yo, I didn't realize that these were real things. I didn't realize that like who Jesus was. And they've gotten a chance to know him now. They've gotten a taste, and they've gotten to see a little bit of experience. And this goes to like that verse that where Jesus says, he who the Son sets free is free indeed. It's like he can free you from so many things. That's number one. So it's like, if you've gotten to know him, that he's starting to free you from a lot of stuff. And those of y'all that don't know him, know that if you get to know him, he can free you from a lot of things, right? But another one was when we were talking about like, the enemy doesn't want you to get out of your bed, right? That's probably why he's trying to keep you there. Or like I mentioned, the pastor that it was like, oh, I put on this smile on my face and I just keep going, like, and that way people don't know the struggle. The Lord was bringing me to a verse right now in which Jesus told Paul, when the Apostle Paul, he told him, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness, right? And then the Apostle Paul writes in his letter, so now I am glad to boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me. So it's beautiful because when you can get up out of your bed, when you're going through it and you're like, you know what? I can do this. I need to get up and I need to get moving. It's like you realize that if it was up to you, you would just stay there. But when you're like, no, hold up. Nah, God has a purpose for me to get up out this bed today. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to, whatever I'm not motivated to do, I'm going to ask God, like, yo, I can't do it, but walk through me in this, strengthen me in this. The Lord is so good that Jesus himself, like, for those of y'all that don't know, Jesus, if you ever read the Bible, Jesus's words, what he's saying is in red, right? So this is after he dies and everything. He's telling the Apostle Paul way after he's dead, like, I'm strengthened. Yeah, like my strength is seen in your weakness. So when you're like, I can't get out of bed, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to do this because I feel so depressed, I feel so torn down, I'm fighting this, I'm battling this, and you're like, yo, Jesus, help me, let get up, let's go. Everything that you're accomplishing you're not accomplishing by your strength because you don't even want to get up. You're accomplishing it because his strength is going to be seen in your weakness, and he's going to be glorified because people are going to be like, this person has no reason to get up based on what they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? They have no reason to get up. They have no reason to get up. So how is it that they're getting up right now? How is it that they're fighting this battle? Why is it that it's pressing forward? And it's like, there's two things that I'm thinking here. Number one is the testimony. The testimony that other people are able to see that no matter what, you're going to fight because you know that you got a Jesus who's going to be your strength in your weakness. You're weak, but he's going to be strong. And because he's in you, you are going to be strong. And the other thing is, you don't think the enemy is going to be tight? Because guess what? If you can't do it and your battle's not with the enemy, who's fighting the battle? It's Jesus and his strength fighting your battle. Yo, the enemy is going to be tight because every time he fights Jesus, he loses. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine the battle that you're fighting. Whatever battle you're going through, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is, if you feel weak and you're deciding to push forward, knowing that, like, no, this is where I need to go, it's like, think about that. Guess who gets to show out? You get to reap the benefits. God gets the glory, but here on earth, you get to reap the benefit of it. Because the benefit is I pressed through that and I got to the goal. You know what I'm saying? So it's just big, bro. It's God's, I think, wanting to free some people tonight on that.
Amen to that, man. And putting darkness out there. So usually when we get dark thoughts, it would be at the end of the day, right? So you're so busy throughout the day. We've discussed this briefly in multiple episodes. You're so busy throughout the day that, your mind is going, you're busy completing tasks, attending to your family, partner, whatever the case is. But when you tend to have the most troubles and the most issues is late at night, or when your day is over. That's when the enemy wants to go ahead and attack, right? Where you get random thoughts, where you get these negative thoughts, draining thoughts. It really disturbs you mentally and emotionally. Sometimes that's when you become in denial, self, and even in whatever task you want to complete the next day, or even throughout the week, which is why we have to be very, very careful. We have to be very careful. Keep that in mind. I would say, a great example, I can even put it out there. Let's say, you're having trouble waking up the next day, right? Like you mentioned, the enemy attacks and you're just unable to get up. We tend to snooze. When we snooze, what happens? We wake up later. I want you guys to listen carefully. When you snooze, you end up waking up later. What happens when you wake up later? Now you have less time to get ready, or to even have your meal, your breakfast. Or if you do have your meal, you have to rush into your breakfast, right? Now you're rushing to get out of your house. Now you're rushing to work. You're not supposed to feel like that in the morning, You're really not supposed to feel like that. That's one way, that's definitely an attack. So what happens? Now your day is just all messed up, or that's the way you see it, right? Your day's all messed up because, I'm so tired, I had to rush into work, and now your day is just going horrible at work, let's just say. It's not a good feeling, it's actually a stressful situation. I'm the type of person that I would have to wake up extra early because I like to take my time, breathing exercises, meditation, same thing. I take my time with breakfast, but there's been many moments where when the enemy attacked me once and just kept attacking right after, it threw me completely off from my schedule, right? I was falling asleep late because I was thinking, I was stressing so much. How am I going to get out of this? How am I going to improve my current situation? What is it that I have to do? When in reality, what we have to do is shut our mind off, get some rest, and worry about that the next day. And not so much worry about it the next day, handle it the next day, right? Because the more we think about it, all we're doing is losing sleep, draining energy. Pray, ask God for strength, for patience, for faith. Just put your prayers out there, and then just let the day be, smooth sailing. Try not to think so much, especially when the enemy's trying to attack. Whenever you see that you're having so many thoughts racing, tell yourself, just put it out there. Just relax. Let me just take it easy. Not today. Just don't be that punching bag. You know what I mean? Don't be the punching bag, because we really have to be careful with those dark moments. Now, I'm sure everyone can actually relate to that, because how many people go through it? How many times have you heard these examples or those situations? You got to be very careful. Now, another thing, we have to be very careful what we consider an attack from an enemy. Because let's say if you're partying till late, knowing that you have to get up extra early and handle business.
That ain't the enemy, bro.
That's not the enemy. So we have to put that out there. We have to put it out there, because sometimes we want to blame someone else or something when we really have to blame ourselves. So we speak on both ends, on both ends. It's very important. We can't blame other things and other people for situations that we're in. Sometimes it's a decision that we make. So, I definitely have to put that out there. So, regarding darkness, this is something that I wrote about darkness. Especially, we brought up the whole thing with the situation with Chelsea Smith. May she rest in peace. Acknowledge your darkness. Appreciate your dark times. And know this can give you the experience to help others. Whether it's to help keep others from stepping into these dark places or thoughts, or how to get through it, right? So we have to appreciate the dark moments. Like I said a few minutes ago, no matter what, we're going to go through hardship. We're going to run into obstacles. Life is not perfect, no matter what your tax bracket is, what your job title is, what you do for a living. It really doesn't matter. What car you drive, the house you own, it does not matter. No one is exempt from suffering. It's just how we look at it, right? Our perspective. I know that I've gone through many situations, you know, and I'm not the only one. You know, there's people that's gone through less, there's people that have gone through more. But I know that I use my pain and turn it into opportunity, which is what we all have to do. We have to learn from these dark times. We have to learn from these painful moments. We have to learn from our mistakes. We continue to learn, right? That's life. Very simple. Life is never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It doesn't matter how much money you make or where you're at or where your connections are, because it don't matter how big your connect is. Ain't nobody going to pull you out from a problem. You have to put all the effort, and then you're going to have the right people come along. Aside from God, of course, you're going to have all the right people right in front of you to help you get through, whether it's through advice, you know. It's major, you know. It's something that we have to continuously discuss over and over, just to keep reminding people you are not alone. What we see on social media sometimes is not reality. The majority of the times, it is not reality. It's the image that they're putting. It's filters that you're looking at. You know, sometimes even when we talk about filters, we're not talking about the filters that yes, we are, but not only those filters that we select, right? It's also the image that people, the front that they put whenever they're recording a video, whenever they're taking pictures, you know? We have to keep that in mind. Don't let any of it affect you, okay? Because no one is alone in this. No one is alone.
Facts. And I'm glad that you mentioned the filter, because when I mentioned that example of what that one pastor had told me that one time, right? When you think about it, putting up the front that, like, even though I got this mental health issue, even though I'm going through it, I go and I put this smile on my face and everybody thinks that everything's good. What is that? That's a filter.
That's a filter, exactly.
If you put it in social media terms, that's like me being like, happy-go-lucky, no mental health issue filter, boom. Now let me preach. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're going to put out there. And what people are going to see is the filter. It don't matter that, like, you don't look like that. But if I take the filter off, you know, I'm going to see your blemishes. I'm going to see all the issues and everything. No, that does not matter, because what the public person is seeing is the filter that you put. That's why later on, when you decide, like, oh, I'm not going to follow the faith anymore, or I committed suicide, or I cheated on my wife, or I did whatever, then you got believers that'll be like, yo, but what happened? He was holy. He was anointed. He was righteous. He was this and he was that. But it was because when it came time for you to preach, which is the problem that the majority of the Christian church has right now, not just talking about preachers, talking about everybody that's a Christian, is that we like to, boom, put the filter on. Put the filter on so that you look like you good. You know what I'm saying? And what's that filter called? That's called I believe in Christ, so I never have problems filter. Like, go look it up, you know, boom. I'm going to put that filter on, even though my life is tearing down all across me. You know, it's like, and that filter doesn't even go with what the word says. The word says, Jesus told us that we were going to go through trials, that we were going to go through tribulations. And that's why he went through what he went through. Part of the reason was to understand us in those trials and tribulations so that we would be strong in him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but here we are being like I'm a Christian, so I believe in God, so I don't got no problems filter. I'm going to just put that on, and that's what people are going to believe. And nobody gets strengthened by that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gets strengthened by that. But then going into what you were talking about too, when you're talking about like, yo, you know, I don't got any problems or anything like that, it's like, you know, or focusing too much about the problems. For some people, yes, that is difficult to understand, but you got to, you know, it's not knocking anybody because it's a walk in our faith. But I just want to share with you real quick what the word says real quick. If God cares so wonderfully for flowers that are here today and throw in the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. So why do you have so little faith? It's like, yo, if he's taking care of animals, flowers, everything that you see in nature, believe me, he wants to take care of you because he created you, right? You need to understand, if you didn't know it before, because this is about education, knowledge is power here, right? This is what a lot of people have started to receive, and they've been starting to get this in their lives. Please know that what God wants you to know today is that He created you. He created you, so he loves you and he wants to care for you. And then what he says in that is like, yo, don't worry about these things saying what will we eat, what will we drink, what will we wear, what are they going to say about me on social media, how many likes am I going to get, all this other nonsense. Don't worry about that. These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers. So in other words, if you don't believe in God, guess what's going to dominate your thoughts? All the problems around you, all the things that you're wanting. The word itself said, Jesus himself is saying, like, those things dominate the thoughts of those that don't believe, right? His word is saying it. But the Father already knows your needs. He knows all of it. So if you seek God above all else and you live righteous, he will give you everything you need. So in other words, if you're like, yo, you know what, this is not working out, forget about the likes, forget about, all these different things that are taking up my day that I'm preoccupying myself with because I want to make myself feel better, which if you ever notice, you try to make yourself feel better with those things, but you never feel better. You in fact, you feel probably more empty after some time, because when you don't get the results you want, you feel like you're empty, right? You start, and because you feel like you're empty, you're like a gas tank. You start running on E, and you start putting all these things in the fuel tank. It's like, your car needs premium because you probably bought yourself a Benz. You need premium because the car got turbo, but you're trying to pump unleaded in there like it's good, and your gas like wastes immediately. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening here. You're here filling yourself with all this stuff, and it's like God is like, yo, I'm the premium you need, but all this other stuff is unleaded, and that's why you're burning through your gas, because you're trying to do it on your own. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord is saying, like, I already know. Don't fill yourself with all these things that the rest of the world is doing. Fill yourself with the truth. And at the end, he says, don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow brings its own worries. So stop thinking about all these things. I know it's hard, and believe me, this is why I can give you testimony. I know it's hard. It's hard to not be thinking about tomorrow. And I'm telling you that because I went through it, myself. But I can give you I had to learn the hard way. A little bro, you know about this. I think it was like 3-4 years ago. I felt like I had a knot like right around the stomach area, right? So what do? Like the brilliant man that I am, I go on WebMD. And what's the problem with WebMD? What happens with WebMD? Instead of going to the Lord, like, yo, Lord, show me what the problem is, I go to WebMD. That's Pandora's box. Everybody knows, yo, you sneeze once and you go on WebMD and ask them how you feeling, they're telling you you're dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, WebMD is the worst. So here I am, like, oh, I feel this knot in my stomach. What could that be? What could that be? And then I look at WebMD and they're like, that could potentially be this kind of cancer. So what's the first thing I'm going to be thinking? Lord, no. And I start thinking about all these different thoughts in my head, which that makes you sick. You know what I'm saying? Like because you feel
it's like you're focused on that.
Exactly. And you start to get
this condition.
Yeah, you start to get all this huge amount of stress on yourself. And I wasn't connected with the Lord like that. Like I was going to church, but I believed in God. I wasn't really focused on him like that, but I believed in him. But I was more focused on WebMD, right? Long story short, eventually I go over to the doctor. And I was like tight about my business. And again, I'm talking to you. This was at a point in time which I could get a 6-figure stack, arrive at my doorstep.
Okay.
And I would be stressing about where things would be 6 months from now. You know what I'm saying? And the doc, checks me out, everything. She's like, okay, everything looks good. We go, question and answers your doctor gives you. And the doctor goes, I don't feel anything in that area. I'm like, yo, are you sure? Yeah, go do this blood work. Go do this, these different tests, whatever. They came out clean. And she was like, you know what you need to do? You got stress? Come on, bro. I'm in my 30s. Who don't have stress? Just stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how often do you feel you're stressed? All the time. I run a business. I feel like I'm stressed all the time. You know what I'm saying? And you know what her response was? Stop stressing.
That was the prescription.
Yeah, that was a prescription. She's like, we'll continue to run some tests if you want, but do me a favor, take a couple of weeks to stop stressing. And I'm like, how am I gonna do? like, stop stressing. I can't stop stressing. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to think about it, and it's perfect with the word, because the word says, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. You know what I'm saying? So what did I do? I literally had to be at a point where I was like, okay, I think the Lord is giving me revelation. Let me stop stressing, because if I don't stop stressing, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to affect my health. And if your health is affected enough, don't worry about not stressing. You won't be stressing. You might be dead. Or you might be incapacitated from a health issue so bad that what was your problem before is no longer going to be your problem. And it's going to get much worse. So I decided, I was like, as hard as it is, I am going to stop the stress. And it was like every time a thought would come in my head, nope, not paying attention to that. Customer would call with something, nope, not paying attention to that. This bill would come, nope, not paying attention to that. I'm not doing that. You know what happened after about a week? That knot went away on its own. That knot that I was feeling right in here went away on its own. So it's like, if I had been connected with the Lord and I had gone to the Word instead of WebMD, I would have heard the Lord telling me right there, yo, I got you. Don't worry about tomorrow. Like, stop worrying about tomorrow. Focus on what I want you to do today. Let's take it day by day. You know how you want to know why this is so funny too? The Lord's hilarious, I tell you. Because if you go into the Word, what else do you have in the Word? You don't know that tomorrow's promised. So here you are worrying about tomorrow, and the Lord can swoop down and take you today. And what are you gonna do when you get to heaven? You know, you're gonna be basking in the glory of heaven. You're gonna be like, wow, like, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm here. Are you gonna be thinking about the stuff that you left behind for tomorrow? Nah, because you're gonna be basking in His glory. Now, that's not to tell you to be, to procrastinate on purpose and leave things like where it, snowballs into a huge issue because you're not tending to what you need to tend to. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But it's just to say, don't stress, because God got you. And one more point that I had for you, bro, in terms of what you were talking about in the darkness, right?
Yeah.
This is why it's so important, as hard as it is. If you don't have a relationship with Christ, or your relationship has been lacking and has been weak, the darkness is not a joke. It's really not. That's why typically when it gets darker, when it, normally, like, notice in the wintertime when there's less light, people tend to get more depressed. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. When there's less light, people start to get more depressed. At nighttime, spiritual battles, when does it happen? Typically, I mean, they happen all throughout the day. But you and I know
between 2 and 4.
You and I know the experience.
Yeah.
Between about 2 o'clock, maybe even 1 o'clock. But 3, 4 o'clock is heavy. Like, that's heavy spiritual battle time. You know what I'm saying?
They're not. I don't think they're ready for that conversation.
They ain't ready. One day we're gonna hit you with that, but it's not a joke. Yeah. It is not a joke. But
we're gonna put it out there.
Yeah, we're gonna put it out there at some point because it's important for you to know the facts.
Very.
But when you get to know the Lord in those moments of darkness, guess what happens when you have a relationship with Him? It says, if you have that relationship with God, God is the light, and in Him there's no darkness at all, right? So even when you're dark, there's another verse that says light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not comprehend it. So in other words, when you're in that darkness, and think about this real quick, when the enemy's got you there and he's hitting you in that darkness, like he's pounding away at you, and you're like, yo, I know I can't do this. Jesus, be my rock. Like, go ahead and handle this. And you're like, I can't do it. Help me. Please help me. You know what happens when you get up and you fight that battle, and Jesus fights that battle with you? The enemy does not comprehend it. He's like, pero espérate, ¿qué hace este parándose? What's this dude doing getting up? What's he doing battling back? What's he doing worshiping when he should be on his knees crying? You know what I'm saying? Because I got him so bad. What's he doing talking about, like, instead of being depressed, I'm going to show my appreciation for things. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Instead of being depressed, I'm going to look at all the things that are going right. And I'm going to praise God for all the things that are going right. Because in all the things that are going right, the things that got me down and depressed, they're not going to hold me down because it's only a few things. But in reality, I'm breathing, I'm walking, I got something to eat. You know, even if it was ramen, I'm eating something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I could be a whole lot worse. Even if I'm thrown out in the street, I got somebody that I can call, that I can go to their house, and I can and they'll let me chill there. They'll let me stay there. Even if they didn't want to take me, there will be shelters that will take me in. Whatever it is, it's like in the moment of depression where everything is like, let me get, because what does the enemy want to do? He wants to get you to focus on one or two things that are wrong when there's 100 things going perfect, where they're going well, where you have something. It's like when you realize it, it's like I should be weak, but I'm going to praise in that moment. I'm going to give my appreciation and my worship in that moment. God, you're so good that you got me in that. You bring the light to the darkness and the enemy doesn't comprehend it. He's like, yo, but hold up. You were supposed to be weak in emotional stuff with your love life, or you were supposed to be weak in your finances, or you were supposed to be weak thinking that you're not good enough, and you're praising here? What the heck is this? This isn't working. I'm gonna need to go and retreat. I gotta figure out where to hit you next, because this ain't it. This ain't working anymore. You know, that's why it's important for you to have a relationship with Christ, because when you're weak and he takes over and he's your strength, the enemy ain't going to know what to do, because he's not the word itself says he's not going to comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? And when we get to that point, you and I know when that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock hits and you get hit hard, what happens? When you're finally like, okay, God, you got to do something, and God does something, does the enemy stay in the room? Nope. The enemy leaves, because he cannot stand to be in the light. You know, the enemy can't stand to be in the light.
What and on top of that is the fear, you know?
And he doesn't understand how you can call on the Lord when you should be afraid. You know what I'm saying? But it's facts. We've seen it. We've lived it. That's why we're sharing it. And you get the knowledge right here, because knowledge is power. Knowing who the Lord is, that brings power to your life.
And something that I want people to think right now, you know, everyone who's watching, think about whatever it is that you're stressing, whatever that has you worried, you know, whatever that's, is giving you trouble, whether it's you, whether it's your job, whether it's your current, situation, your status, right? Divorce, single, whether it's bills, whether it's debt in general, whether it's something that you've been trying to accomplish and you're having trouble accomplishing that, whether it's something that you're trying to obtain and you're having trouble getting it, right? I want you guys to think something. What exactly is causing you to feel this way right now? You know, think about that heavy, you know, because you brought up the whole thing with, like, you know, the bills. There's many things that are stressing everyone. Just think about that thing. It can be your appearance, you know. Think about, in general, what it is exactly that's giving you trouble all along. Now, I'm going to ask a question. What if I told you, you know, God forbid, but let's just say, if your last day on this earth is next Monday, how would you handle that situation you're in? How would you handle the way you're viewing that situation? You know, how would you be forgiving? Would you just disregard it because you can't control that other person's actions, way of thinking? Are you going to stress less the bills because life is short and I'm gone Monday? You know, really think about that. I wrote this down. It's make a list of all the things you're experiencing. Go through and label them. Label the ones you have control of and cross out the ones you don't have control over. That's a problem solver right there. And I hope everyone understood that. Because when you make that list and now you're aware, you're crossing out what you have no control over, and you know it's almost impossible for it to change. Are you going to continue to stress over it?
Yep.
Are you going to let it consume you throughout the day? Are you going to let it drain your energy? Because remember, everything that we focus on, it'll keep multiplying, right? So if you focus on the solution, you will find a solution to it. Doesn't have to be, oh, I'm not going to have this problem. No, you're either going to solve that problem or you're going to move on. And still, you have solved that problem, right? Because you're not there anymore. Your focus is not on that problem. You're moving on with life, with anything that you have to handle, right? It's something that I want everyone to keep in mind. There are situations that won't change, but your attitude or perspective can. Quit blaming others or the situation. Focus on yourself, both inside and out, and the solution to any problem. Okay? So the more we focus on things that we don't have control over, or the obstacles or the hardship, the more hardship we're going to experience, right? Because I can just give an easy example, because I want to make sure that everyone gets a full grasp of what I'm trying to say. If you're stressing debt right now, are you going to focus on the debt that you have and just, oh my God, this is too much. I can't do the minimum payments anymore. I wish I can pay more. You're focusing on that. Why not focus on a side hustle, aside from whatever your job is? Focus on a side hustle, or to focus on ways, maybe, to try and get this promotion. Or you know what, let me try and get this certification so I can actually get paid more. Now you're focused on the solution, which is, you know what, I need more money to handle this here. But while you're actually handling that, also pray and take care of your mental health, right? Like we mentioned before, meditating, exercising, because this is what's going to help strengthen and give you the patience, the faith that you need to keep moving forward, to keep dealing with that obstacle, with that hardship. It's very important to learn those key things, because sometimes we're unaware of it. There's a lot of things, for example, that while we grew up, most of us were spoiled. We had it all. We didn't know what a difficult situation was, because our parents made it so easy. The second we ran into a difficult situation, we didn't even know how to handle it. Or we overreacted because this is different, We were always so used to the exit, or, the hand, the helping hand. But when it comes to you handling your situation, that's when it's a whole different story. And only throughout that process, that experience, we learn what it makes us feel and the thought that it brings, the trouble that it brings, sometimes even the trauma, because it's easy. For some people, an example is you missed a payment. For some people, they lose their homes and now they're homeless and now they have to go to a shelter.
Yep.
For some people, they lose their car. Now they can't drive to work or drive around or drive their kids to school. They have to take public transportation. These changes are huge, For some it's minor, for others are major, Again, everyone has different capacity, mental capacity, So it's something that we really, really have to focus on, man. Life ain't fair. Life is not fair, not at all. And it's not easy, And we do pray heavy. We do pray heavy. But remember, prayers aren't the only thing that's going to help. God is always going to be there. He's always going to be there. But it's also your decision making, your actions, your focus, your perspective, right? It's how you move that's going to bring you onto the next level, the next blessing,
Yeah, and don't fall into what the world is telling you. And then this is not to, again, this, you need to take care of your business. You definitely do. It's not to be irresponsible, but you also need to know your mental health as well, right?
Yeah.
Because some people will be like, no, I just don't want to miss the payment. I don't want to do this, do that. You do have to analyze things at some point, right? Because if the pandemic taught you anything, it's like, what happened the moment that COVID went down? and everything started shutting down, and people were being laid off and all this other stuff. Yo, all of a sudden, all these credit card companies and mortgages and, you know, and car financing companies and all this stuff out there, all of them had to come up with ways for people to be able to extend their payment or push their payment to the end or work something out. It's like where before they, you know, when you would call, they probably didn't want to hear it. Now it's like they knew that things are so bad that what the world was set up to do could no longer function. So everybody was scrambling to see what they could do. You know what I'm saying? So why do I mention that? It's because the same way that we talked about a week or two ago, how it's like, okay, what, you know, how are you supposed to grow up? Oh, I'm supposed to grow up, go to school, go to college, have my sweetheart, go to the, you know, what do you call it, get married, have the kids, buy the house, you know, have all these different things.
And they feel like they're on a timeline.
Exactly. You feel like you're on a timeline, or you got to check off certain boxes. And then if you don't check off certain boxes, you feel like a failure. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, it's like, as long as you're still here, there is an opportunity for things. You know what I'm saying? So what does that mean? That means that if you're going through struggles, you know what? If you can't make the payment, God knows your heart. You're not trying to do anything wrong. You might not be being irresponsible, but if you can't make the payment, call and just be like, yo, I can't make the payment. Because guess what? If all of a sudden you're making a bunch of payments that you know that you can't make and now you ain't eating, where are you going to be stressed at? You're going to be stressed at like, okay, I'm stressed because I ain't got no money. I'm stressed because I don't know how I'm going to pay this next thing. I'm stressed because I'm not eating. I'm now, you know, not eating well. So my nutrition is not good. Now I'm eating a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't be eating. I'm eating ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? Again, not knocking your ramen noodles, but I'm just, you know, if that's all you eat and that's not nutritious for you, that's not good.
Hey, that's my thing. That's my thing right there.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but you put this additional stuff on you because you're like, I have to check off these boxes. You know, I got to check off all these boxes. Who's providing for you? You know what I'm saying? Is the Lord providing for you? Because guess what? If the Lord wants your mental to be good, ask the Lord for direction. Meditate on his word. Ask him for direction. Believe me, if you meditate on his word, a lot of stuff gets revealed to you that you're like, wow, you know, wow, that's crazy. And a lot of times we get into stuff that we don't know about him and he changes stuff up. I can tell you from experience, but what happens? Later on, there's always a solution to everything. He can give you solutions where it's like, for example, you could be like, nah, if I miss that payment though, I'm not going to be able to get the car that I want. I'm not going to be able to get the house that I want. What if the Lord told you, I need you to be right up here. Don't worry about that. You are going to take care of that later, but I need you to be good. I need you to be good. And you're like, but how am I going to do it with because my credit's going to be jacked up. But I'm blessing you with a business where you don't need your credit. Because I'm going to bless you financially so well that this is a road, you know, this is a road bump, you know, a little speed bump that you're hitting along the way. I got you. Stop worrying about tomorrow. I got you. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, you go to the Lord and he's like, I gave you the perfect business idea. I gave you the perfect job that you had to apply to today. And now you're like, dang, I didn't realize that I could get this job. I didn't realize I could be successful in this business. I didn't realize that this was my way out. And it's like, I didn't even need all this stuff. And then you start laughing about, I can't believe I was stressing over something so simple, so basic. You know what I'm saying? But when we start living with just what the world has to say, we start thinking we have to check off boxes and we start stressing about stuff because we're making sure we check off every single box.
Yeah.
One thing is not going to define you being a failure. Sometimes you're going to hit that trial, you're going to hit that tribulation, and you're not going to know what to do. And it's natural to feel stressed because you know what happens? The enemy a lot of times is going to attack you in areas where it's unseen territory for you. You've never experienced it. You know the beauty of when you're going through something that you've never gone through before? If you don't have the strategy for it, if you don't have the solution for it, and you rely on God to get you through it, to give you the idea, to move you through it, you can't take the credit. And he gets to show out. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of times where he shows himself the strongest. Because he's like, I got you. I really got you. Like, let me do work. You know what I'm saying? Let me do work because you're trusting me. Let me do some work with you. You know what I'm saying? And I can't tell you people that I've seen blessed like that, bro. It's not easy. Believe me, it's not easy, especially if you've been doing it for so long. But some of us are just stuck in the routine, and we're not supposed to be stuck in that routine. That's not for us.
And there's many things that I want to put out this message also for people who don't know how to say no, right? For whatever the case is, you know, you're afraid that people might say something or might think something. Just remember this: it's okay for people to talk and or think something, you know, because if they have anything to find out, they can go right ahead and ask you. You know what I mean? So what am I trying to say? For those who have a social life, right? There are times where you feel like you can't say no because you're gonna be labeled, you know, a party pooper or antisocial. And no, that's not the case. If you're saying no to an event, you know, the first thing is if somebody's telling me no, is because maybe they're going through something, or maybe they're just unable to go because they have another event to attend, or maybe they're just not comfortable, you know. The list goes, but not everyone's going to understand that. It's okay for you to say no. You don't have to show up somewhere where you don't feel comfortable because of whatever you're going through at the time. Because remember, nothing is permanent. Many things do feel permanent, right? But we're here to say that it's all temporary. Anything that you're going through is temporary. It's okay to say no. You're not antisocial. You're just focused on your situation, whether it's good or bad. Because, all right, you can simply say no because you're saving up for a home. You're not going through anything. You're just working to save and survive, right? Others are going to say no because they're unable to pay, you know, or for dinner, you know what I mean, to party because they have responsibility. You know, what comes first? Like we said, your mental health, your emotional health, right? Your health overall, stability, right? The roof over your head, the meals that you put on the table. Does not matter the quality. The quality does matter when it comes to it affecting our health. But there's a lot of things that we don't have control over, right? So if you have to choose fast food over some top quality meals, then fast food it is. There's people that can't even afford either one, you know? So don't stress it and work on improving that situation. It's okay as when you're focusing on yourself, on supporting your family, on bettering your life, making sure that your well-being is up to par. That's okay. You don't have to worry about anything else. Life goes on. You know, there's always going to be time. Yes, life is short, right? But if we tend to make decisions over that phrase, life is short, what if you live a long time and you're living with that phrase, life is short? You're going to spend all the money you're making?
Yep.
You're not going to save because life is short and because you're not going to take it to your casket?
And there's a lot of sayings like that that are meant to get you going backwards instead of forward.
Yeah. And again, going back to what society, that's what society portrays, right? That's what they put out. You know, things are supposed to be this way. You're supposed to go to school. If you have a degree, you're going to get the job you want. And no, what we have to focus on is being happy, being stable, being content with whatever we have, with what we receive, right? We have to. Because if you don't have that, then what do you have? Like, really think about it. Think about that.
Now you're speaking truth, bro.
And it's okay. It's okay to ask for help, you know? And when I say ask for help, it's not like you're, whatever help is, whatever you define help as, ask for help. It's okay. One thing that I'm guilty of is not asking for help all the time, you know? It takes a lot for me to ask for help. And the people that know me, when I ask for help, it's something very serious. you know?
You know, that reminds me real quick. There's a little story that kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah.
It's a little joke that I've heard before where it'll be like this guy gets what you call it? I think he was on a ship or something like that, a little boat, gets stranded in the middle of the ocean, right? Like it breaks down. Homie's like drowning. No, actually, he's on an island. That's what it was. The boat breaks down. He's on an island, and he's like, "God help me! God help me! God help me!" So this other boat comes by. The guy's like, "Hey, you stranded? Come on!" No, 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 no. God's gonna help me. The guy's all right, bounces. A helicopter comes by. Hey, you're stranded. Come on. No, no, no. God's gonna help me. And bottom line is like 2 or 3 more people come by and help him, and the dude dies on the island, right? And he goes up to heaven, and when he's up there in heaven, God is like, "Yo, I'm surprised to see you here." And the guy's like, "Well, what happened? I was asking you for help. You were supposed to give me something. Like you were supposed to save me." Like he was thinking like divine hand of God. I'm gonna pick you up, take you off the island.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God is like, "Why you think I sent the boat? Why you think I sent the helicopter? Why you think I sent this?" But it's like you supposedly you connected with God and God is giving you the lifeline, but you're like, nah, but this is not the lifeline I was expecting. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you got to think like this is why it's so important for all of us to be connected. Like, because if we're connected, it's like in the book of Acts. If we're all connected, we will get to know each other's needs. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know me and I know you, because we've got this fellowship, this communion, whatever, I'm gonna know that, yo, something's not right.
Yeah.
He must have a need. Lord, show me the need. And now I get the need and I'm gonna be able to supply your need. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not God supplying your need like, yo, Joaquin, here is what you needed. No, it's God putting in me to know how he designed you, getting to know how he made you. Something's not right. Let me go ahead and supply the need. Who supplies the need? The Lord gives me the discernment. He gives me something. He gives me the provision. He gives me the knowledge. He gives me whatever to be able to provide your need. That need doesn't necessarily need to be something financial. That need could be, yo, he just needs something to cheer him up real quick. I'm going to tell him a joke today. I'm going to make him smile. I'm going to give you a quick, yo, bro, I love you. You know, no matter what's going on, I love you. That's it. And that could be enough to be like, yo, I really needed that right now. I really, really needed that right now. You know, that's the need. A lot of the needs that people have right now nowadays is emotional. They need somebody to know that they care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that helps a lot. That actually
helps
helps a lot. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's something else that we all have to focus on, you know. I don't know what obviously everyone's status is different, you know, some single, some married, some divorced, whatever the case is. There's a lot of things that we learn in life and along the way. We know life is difficult and life isn't fair. So something that you want to do is when you choose your partner, is something to keep in mind. Is it someone that's gonna be a problem solver? Is it someone that's actually gonna, help you grow, help you build? Aside from that, are they gonna give you tranquility? Are they gonna keep you at ease? It's a lot of things because remember, not all problems happen in the workplace, right? We're always gonna have trouble in multiple areas, but we want to try and avoid the most problems, right? So relationship, there's problems out there. There's people having trouble with their relationship, maintaining their relationship, whatever the case is. It can be, issues that they're having between each other. It can be people, that have problems in the workplace and they bring into their house, the problems, or vice versa,
Right.
But, it's something else. Just make sure that any decision that you make, that you're fully aware. Go with the signals, your gut feeling. Have that open discussion. Get to know the person. Open up. Don't be afraid to open up. Don't care who it is. Because another thing that society does is, you have to, keep your guards up. And I'm here to say, don't keep your. I mean, easy to say, right? It's easy to say not to keep your guards up, but just be fully aware of what you're doing. you know. It's all about how you look at the situations. Look at your past experiences as, you know what, this taught me where I want to be and where I don't want to be, who I want in my life and who I don't want in my life. You know, what to focus on, and what to keep away. You know, have full control over it. And when I'm talking about this, it's not only relationship; it's just overall. You know, even with work. You know, even with hobbies. You know, even what you do on your own time. You know, because mental health, mental illness, addiction, and so many other things are real, you know, and sometimes we don't know where it's coming from. We really don't know where it's coming from. So as long as we're fully aware of ourselves, our surroundings, it's what's actually going to help us move forward. Let me take a look here. We have a request, Pastor Carlos. We have a request.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and accept it. All right. So I just finished hitting accept. It's probably going to take a few seconds, a few minutes.
All right, bet.
Yeah. But, you know, that's one thing that we always bring up, awareness. Every single episode, we bring up awareness, you know, because that's what it's really all about. Self-love, awareness, you know, just to help us keep, you know, moving forward. So it seems like
there we go. I see the connection.
Here we go. Okay.
You guys,
hey, there we go.
Leslie,
you just
what's up?
don't want to get rid of me, do you? Put my name on this thing here.
We appreciate you every single time. What's going on, cuz? What's up?
Oh my God, I came in late again.
It's never late.
It's all
you know
good.
Why?
You came in at the perfect time of the God.
YouTube. Yep. That's
so
it.
I have to say, and guys, again, love you. You're always on point, on time with, you know, the current. I know you're not trying to do this because of current events, but it just happens to be that when you guys talk, you're right there with what's happening, even on the news. I don't know, and please, everybody, if I can't, you know, again, I came in late, but what you're talking about reminds me of this young lady, the Miss Universe. Not Miss Universe, I'm sorry, Miss USA.
Miss USA, yep. Chelsea Smith.
Yeah. It has been something that has been really touching my heart. Yeah, it's scary. I've been praying about, you know, all the family, people that I know, because, you know, we tend to be a family that's always strong, and, you know, we're always smiling, and, you know, this kind of situation brings me to think, okay, so who is not really having, you know, who's not talking, but whose smile is not a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think about something that Abuela used to always say, and it's that everything has a consequence. Everything that you choose, whether it's good or bad, has a consequence. And that, listening to you right now, and this is why I said, let me come on. And if you can't follow me, tell me, because I'll stop again. That also, with what you're saying, brings me to, and I love that story, Carlos, with the guy that was asking for help. You know, I think the bottom line is that we're not alone, and we're not supposed to be alone, and we're not supposed to be perfect. And we're always going to somehow be wrong, because we've never, I've said this before, lived this precise moment. So the fact that you think that you're, you know, that you have the option of this perfection is that's where you're wrong. You know, knowing that, yes, everything is going to have a consequence, whether I meant, you know, for good or not, that I'm going to be wrong, because it's life, you know, and then accepting that no one is going to bring a happiness or, you know, a fulfillment. You know, that's what God is about. But he's there because we're going to make these errors, and because we're going to lack, you know. And I think that when you when you remember that that's there, you know, that there's gonna be lack, there's gonna be wrong, there's gonna be, you know, negativity.
Yeah.
But then there's always something that's going to be there for me. That's a key factor. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be, like you said, like you were talking, there's always going to be the opportunity with a person or people or, you know, whatever it is for me to come and say, oh, you know, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And when you understand that, then you don't think that, you know, you're supposed to be perfect or that everything's going to be okay, because it's not. And that's the lie that brings people to what this young lady went through. You know, because you just build on top of, you know, oh, okay, I'm okay. Okay, just tomorrow. Okay, just, you know, let me smile or let me pretend. When does it stop? When can you really understand that you can't handle it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
You know,
and then that's when you get to a point of no return. Like I mentioned earlier, that's when you get to a point of no return, because where it could have been something very basic, something easy to be able to say, hey, this is how I feel about whatever. Yeah. It snowballs and it snowballs, and maybe you don't say it again because of shame. You don't say it because you don't want anybody to worry. You don't want, whatever it is, right? But when it snowballs, it's like, if you didn't want to, you know, if it was because of shame, if I was not sharing with you as an example because of shame, well, when it gets worse, am I going to share with you? Because when it was small, I didn't share because I was ashamed. Well, when it balloons up into something huge, I'm not going to share because I'm going to be even more ashamed. It's snowballed. Right. Or, you know, I'm embarrassed. Well, that's going to be an even bigger embarrassment, you know? So it's like, that's how you're going to comprehend it. So there gets to be a point of no return where it's like, I definitely can't say anything. You know, I've gone too deep. You know, I've gone too far in. Yeah, it's there's no other way to say it.
It's I you know, for because I know a lot of your followers are, you know, people that I know that are growing up with, you know, that grew up. I'm sorry, because you're already grown up with you guys, and you know, younger family members and whatnot. I think that, you know, and I have to like beg at this point, since you're all there, please just don't think that you're doing this alone. Life is not an alone thing. You've never been here before. You know, you're not meant to be correct. You're learning. It's a learning experience. And you know, this false belief that, you know, that I'm the one who's gonna do it right, or I have to be right, or, you know, that I can't be wrong. It's not healthy. It's not correct. It's not a truth. You know, because anybody that has never done something is and we don't have, you know, we don't have a guide to life. So, I mean, you know, I'm not saying walk through this like, you know, like you're gonna make all these mistakes, because frankly, sometimes a lot of the things that we do are not mistakes. They're just necessary steps. But so, you know, that you're gonna be wrong is the way. That you're gonna be right, you don't know. You don't know the outcome, and you know that's in every word that you read. You will never know the outcome until the moment comes. So, you know, walk in peace. Know that there's something bigger than you. And once again, part of that, and I'm so grateful that you guys are mentioning that, is that there are other people. That's why we live in community and family, and you know, and we're people. So
yeah.
Sorry.
And no.
You caught me in pajamas, people. I don't know what to do with you guys.
No, and it's great. We always appreciate when you get on and you know, you put the testimony out, you know, and you know, when you talk, people are listening, you know, because again, I'm not alone. You're not alone. Pastor Carl is not alone. Everyone who's watching is not alone. And the more they see the communication and the information that we put out, it's like they're going to feel more comfortable. They're going to feel more accept anything that presents itself in their life, whether it's good or hardship, you know, they're going to accept it. They're going to say, you know what, it's okay for me to make a mistake, right? The thing is, don't commit the same mistake again, right? Because you learn from mistakes. So, you know, whatever situation that they're going through, you know, improving their life, focusing on their well-being, they're going to be more focused on that, because social media isn't really putting that out. Right. We do run across some, you know, inspirational videos and motivational, but you also have a lot of incidents, you know, bad news, you know, bullying, cyberbullying, because that's real. You know, it does take place. We don't really have people building each other. We have people destroying each other, especially now. Especially now. It happens in politics, you know. Mm-hmm. You have, you know, it happens with the whole situation with the vaccine. Instead of people accepting and understanding the person that wants to get vaccinated, and vice versa, you know, the more we understand each other, the easier life will be. Let them make that decision. That's okay. I hope they learn from it, right? I'm not talking about the vaccine. I'm speaking in general. I hope they learn from it. But we also learn from that situation, right? Because we don't have to commit all the mistakes. We can also learn from someone else's mistake, you know? Man, you know, that mistake made me feel this way. I wouldn't want that person or someone else to feel that way. You know, it's a pretty much brief example for people to understand what I'm trying to say. And man, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. You know, we would be easy on ourselves, on life, and I think stress levels would be much lower if we actually look at it that way.
Facts. You know? And you know, there's something that Leslie said too, which reminded me of two different things. Well, it reminded me of one thing, and then I felt like the Lord was talking to me, reminding me of something else that was in His Word. And when she was talking about, you know, that connection mm-hmm. that people have, you know, Jay, I don't know if you remember the example that I gave. I gave an example during one of our early episodes of something that the Lord gave me of a preach last year, where He had me take candles, right? Mm-hmm. He had me take candles, and I had the candles on the table. And it was like, well, why does the enemy want to separate it right now? Yes, especially in this time, you remember? Yeah, especially in this time right now during a pandemic, but just in general, why does he want to separate it? And it was like, what happens when you separate it? When you're separated and you put yourself in a bubble and you put a jar over a candle, you have air and the light's on for a while, but then little by little, because it has no air, it starts going out, it starts going out. If all the candles were open, there was nothing on top of them, they keep themselves on. Right? Mm-hmm. They keep themselves on. But the moment that you put that jar over it or whatever, little by little, the light goes out. And why is it important to not be in the bubble? Because if your light goes out, that candle that was next to you that's still on, if the wind blew it out, if something happened, water fell in it, whatever it was that caused it to go out, that other candle would have had easy access to go to that candle and turn it back on. Now, it's perfect, because what the Lord wanted to show in that moment was, if you keep yourself enclosed, it was like, if I'm keeping myself away from you and Leslie, it's like, what's going to happen? If I got myself in my little bubble and my light goes out, Leslie could try all she wants to turn, you know, my light back on, but she can't, because I'm keeping myself away from everybody. She can't see me. She can't see that my light is out, or maybe she can see it, but I'm not making myself accessible. So it's like, I can't get turned back on. But if I leave myself open, it's like, there's the Holy Spirit fueling me. And in the event that the enemy blows me out, it's like Leslie's got easy access to be like, boom, I'm going to turn you on. And then what the Lord was showing me there was, a lot of times we think like disciples of apostles were perfect. And it's like, do you know what they went and did when Jesus died? They went and they hid in a house. They were so afraid. And some of them messed up, because some of them backstabbed Jesus. That's a whole nother story. But they were so afraid that of what people were going to do to them, that they were stuck in a house. They were so scared. They were so petrified that they went away from everybody, and they were stuck in a house. And there they were, all stuck in fear in a house, that they were going to be killed. And then Jesus came in, being the Jesus that He is, revealed Himself. And hey, listen, I'm not... Yeah.
See, but I'm sorry, Carlos, but this is another incredible part of this. They were so afraid and so you said the word, and so oh my God, when you do something and not embarrassed, but
they had shame. They felt guilt.
That he came and they didn't even recognize that it was him.
That's right. He had to say, "Look at my hands.
Yes.
Look at my hands. Look at my side. It's me."
So, but the beautiful thing about that is that even he knew that they would do that.
Yep.
Exactly. Even because, you know, and he kept telling them, "You're going to them. It's okay."
Exactly.
Going to.
Exactly.
So accept that there is, because that's the lie of the enemy, leaving you isolated. Man, I'm telling you, this is, guys, you got to take this, you got to bring this back. You get, when you, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this, at, you know, where I'm working now, we're working with cars, right? And one of the, or, you know, I'm teaching people to drive. One of the words that we use is accidents. All right. It's not accidents, it's collisions. So, you know, a collision is between, or, you know, amongst more than one vehicle or whatever it is. More than one, right? That's a collision. It's not an accident. And that's the same thing that happens with these choices that we make. It's not you. It's not, you know, it's not an accident. It's something that happens, and then it happens, and then something else happens, you know, and people have to understand that we are walking here in the, you know, the lane. You're on your lane, but you're making choices that, again, are going to take you to things that you don't know if they're, but it's for a big purpose. Mm-hmm. People have to understand that, because if not, when you are isolated by the things that we learn, you know, by the guilt, by the shame, by the not knowing, these things are going to take you to not accepting life as it is, and then ending up like these people who can't take it and disappear. You know?
And that goes back to, you know, I think we mentioned last week. Like, what's the only thing the enemy can come back to you with? He can only come back to you with your past. So it's like, what does he use from your past? He used whatever you're ashamed of and whatever makes you feel guilty. You know, some of them might be what you sinned on, some of them might be spiritual battles of other stuff that happened and how you reacted. Who knows? There's a bunch of different stuff. But what does he do? Now you can't talk to that person. You can't talk to that person. You can't reach out to that person. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. In fact, he'll even be so dirty, because he's so dirty at the game, that he'll be like, "You think God wants to hear from you? Who you think you are? You failed him. You haven't believed all this time. You thought you could do it on your own. Let yourself keep doing that, because he doesn't want to hear from you. You think
you can't be convicted." Even in a court of law, you cannot be convicted of the same crime again. And that's the same way that it is with God. Or not with God, I'm sorry, with the enemy. He can't convict you anymore.
Yep.
You did it. It happened. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Tomorrow will be another day. Sleep it off. You know, talk to somebody. This whole nonsense that we have about, you know, and again, this is how we grew up. A lot of us have heard this over and over. Tell anybody. Why? You don't know if you've been, if you can help.
You don't know what you'll receive,
You know?
You don't know what you'll receive.
That's all that's going to happen. All that is going to happen is that you're going to overcome that, however it is, and then next step. You know, I don't know if I'm talking too much. I'm sorry, guys.
No, not at all.
It's never too much. We're here connecting. We're here connecting, and people need to hear that. They need to hear it, because it's not only from us, you know, which is why we encourage people to join us on the live. I want to add to something that you both were saying, actually, you know, that it always came to mind. And I'm finally going to put it out. So I want all of us to think about the people that we grew up with, right? In and out of family, you know, in and out of family. Think about the stressful situations that we've gone through, you know, that we've experienced, right? How we've reacted to those situations. what was our view on those situations, right? What was our responses on those situations? How much time and energy it's consumed in the past, and even till this day, it might be draining. You know, just the thought of it, because it was so stressful. When you finally push through and you break through and you overcome, you feel that relief, like, or and even when you start thinking about it, it's like, wait a second, was I stressing all along? And look at the outcome. I'm not stressing it anymore. You know. Now think about this: the people that we grew up with. This is something that we have to be grateful for. I want to connect it to this. Tomorrow's another day, right? We all have class pictures, right? We all have class pictures. Everyone who's watching, I want you to think about that class picture. This is something we have to be grateful for. If you look at your class picture now and you look at every single individual, I can guarantee that you can actually point out, man, you know what? This person passed away. They committed suicide. This person is addicted to drugs nowadays. This person just lost their mind, you know, and we never know what happened, right? You'll see that people has actually disappeared from this earth because of casualties, you know, self-harm, or just harm overall. And it's like, man, I'm still here. I'm getting goosebumps while I'm saying this, because we're still here. So we're here stressing situations, temporary situations, when there's been permanent situations that cause someone to not be here anymore. You know, we still have a chance to make things different. They don't. They're gone. Rest in peace to everyone, you know, who's gone because of, you know, hardship, addiction, mental illness, and stuff like that. It's tough, but it's reality, you know. And even in the environment that we grow up in, you know, sometimes it's even the environment, because of the people that we interact with, what they introduce to us. But the environment also introduces bad habits, right? And yeah, we have to have self-control. But how are you going to have self-control if you're consuming something from a young age and no one knows? That can be drugs, that can be alcohol, you know,
that could be
prescription behavior, you know, prescription drugs can do it, because sometimes you think because a doctor's prescribing, it's not going to cause any problems. Yep. No, it is going to cause a problem, because whatever it is that you're feeling when you consume that pill to take whatever pain away, there's people that look at it like, man, but it does make me feel high though. Now, when they don't have that, what are they going to do? Remember, everything happens through conversation, right? Man, you know, I smoked a blunt the other day and it just made me feel, you know, oof, I was disconnected. I wasn't even worried about anything. Curiosity now, right? Man, I need to try that. And some people fall in deep where they have trouble getting out. There's other people that just give it a try once.
And it's a wrap.
And it's a wrap. You know, they're good. Or they lost it, you know, because maybe they laced it with something. We never know what happens. We never know what happens. So it's something that we have to be very thoughtful, you know, like be very grateful for where you are today. No matter what it is that you're going through, you have control over most of the things that you're going through, and the stuff that you don't have control over, cross it out and forget about it and just keep moving forward.
Yep. You know, one thing also, and I guess hopefully we'll agree, because you know, we know mental illness. I've been seeing it since I was little. I mean, I won't name names, but I've been seeing it since I was little. One thing that I've noticed that goes hand in hand is fear. You know, you lose, and we could go again, we could go biblically, but let's leave it in the natural right now, you know, so that we don't have to go too controversial. When you're doing all these things that you want to control, you're really trying to deal with the fear. You know, you gotta quiet that thing that is, but it's fear-based.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I've heard where it said, you know, that you fear, what is it, fear itself or something like that. You know, like the biggest fear is the fear itself. You know, we grow up like that. This is how you children, you know, oh, papa or whatever. And you don't know what papa is. You don't know what's going on. I think and I'm going to use something that we all, and I remember specifically with Carlos asking you this when Abuela died. You know, I don't remember Abuela like hitting me or anything like that. But I remember asking you, did she ever, like, what were we afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? The day after?
I do. At the funeral?
What were we, did she hit anybody? You know, like, how did she scare us? Because, you know, it's that thing, oh, what are you afraid of?
We all had that fear, like, oh, you know, Abuela could maybe be a little mean or something like that. But she ain't never hit us.
No.
She didn't show, you know, all she did was love us. She would smile. Remember when she smiled, it was like, oh, the sun came out. How is this person, you know, making me like so afraid? And you grow up like that. Sometimes they don't know better. But we need to be reacting to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we that come behind have to understand what is it, how are you reacting, and what is the only way to grow, and that you again overcome these things that are gonna hit you. Because you know, sometimes something like you're saying, very small is gonna come at you, but you go right back to when you were a little kid, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you have to medicate that.
Yeah. And communication, you know, communication is huge.
You have to.
Yeah, communication is huge because there's a lot of things that we learn through discipline, right? What we're told, what we have to obey, but just having that space to communicate, to express, you know, to have the right to express yourself, and not people take it as, oh, you're talking back to me, you know? No, I just want to express myself, you know, so you can hear me out, how I'm feeling inside. You know, not all the time is considered disrespect, which is something that I keep in mind with my daughter. You know, if there's something that she says, instead of reacting, you know, instantly, no, I register what she's telling me.
Good.
And I want to see, because I want to understand what she's feeling.
Yep.
Obviously, she's a child. So the first thing that comes to mind is to yell, right? Not saying that she yells at me, but, you know, let's say if she does do it, it's like, you know, kids are kids. They don't know what's right, but you're teaching them, you know, if they do get loud, just let them know, listen, that's not the way to speak. Okay, you can express yourself. Tell me how you feel. Is there something bothering you? But let it be the last time you speak to me that way, you know, but let me hear you out. Let me see, you know, because maybe I did something wrong, you know. Before I miss this thought over here, which we can connect it to what I just finished saying, and Leslie, what you just finished saying as well. Orquídea, I appreciate it. Thank you for putting that out. Thank you for joining us and watching us. You know, we really, really appreciate it. So Orquídea put in the chat, to add to your point, those people also don't have the right support or are scared of seeking help because of how society will judge them, right?
That goes hand in hand to what we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Hand in hand.
You know, so it's very important, communication, you know, helping our youth, our children, you know, and even if you don't have any children, you'll have nephews and nieces running around. Use your experience to mold them, you know, to help them through, to help them understand an adult, you know, to help them understand why discipline, you know, why this is supposed to be a certain way, not this is what I want you to do and this is what I want you to say, and never speak. No, explain it to them, break it down, you know.
Be honest. Guys, let me
exactly
tell you something. We laugh, but now I have grandchildren, and sometimes I see them, you know, like they're tired, and you know, because it's a whole different life.
It's a different generation. Yeah.
Children, you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I just wanted you to go to sleep and whatever. When you have your grandchildren, like I see them crying and I'm like, okay, let's go cry together. Because I want to go to the street and cry because you want, and then like, I'm like talking to a 3-year-old, like, do you know why Nana wants to cry? And I'm like, even because you know, your father's my kid. You know, and then we all start laughing. But the reality is that I want to cry too. You see,
Yeah.
and if I tell you guys, and I think that that's what's worked here. Perhaps maybe not with Joaquincito, because you know, like I feel like you could be my son. You know, like
I am.
Yes, you are. But you know, like I haven't gotten to that point with you, but I know with Carlos, with Yesenia, with everybody, you know, a little bit, because you, I'm hoping that you could be happy forever and ever. You know, we have already gone through some other things, but I know, you know, I've been able to say, oh man, this is hard, or you know, and I see the even when I don't say it, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? You know, what's wrong with that? If now I could breathe, I'm guys, I could breathe. You know what I'm talking about? Even if I say it, you know, and my life is just easier and easier. And it's such a blessing because I'm not gonna get to a point where I'm like 65, and it's not that you necessarily want to be understood. Is that you need a time to breathe. You need to understand that, you know, you need to take that off of you. And, you know, we have this understanding that, oh, we're the example. And I'm telling you, because I grew up like that. Remember, though we have, you know, grown older cousins than myself, but it was like, oh, it's from me, you know, from me on. That's a big responsibility. And I'm telling again, fear, you know, fear is that pressing thing. Meanwhile, when now I know that, oh, you guys can understand me, I could go to Carlos and say, hey, Carlos, and I've done it. And I'm like 10 years older than Carlos. I don't even have to like really say something. I'm just like, please tell me, you know what that's done for me? That's changed like my whole family line. You know, just having Carlos say, you know what, I understand you. Because before I can even open my mouth, sometimes you've like given me, you know, some kind of help that I'm like, wait a minute, but I didn't even say what was happening. You know, we need that.
Definitely.
This is the other thing. It starts here. You know, it starts right here. And once you start that, then it just, you know, there's also that domino effect on a good, you know, it doesn't have to be bad. It just goes on. It you know, it grows on that end. But we really have to understand, listen, what's going on with me is not abnormal. You know, nothing that you're going through, nothing that you can think is abnormal. And if we want to take it, you know, further, God already knows.
Yep.
You're still here. You know?
He will not give you more than what you can handle.
He won't.
He will not permit it.
And if you allow yourself to you know, if you allow yourself to go through the process, which is the other thing, man, at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay. You know, I'm. That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well. No, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us and everything.
Because you're never gonna get rid of me. This is the thing. I get this therapy.
He's dropping gems. He's dropping gems.
Really appreciate you, and I'm sure everyone that's watching appreciates, you know, when you get on and, you know, you put it out there, you know, you put the message out. So really appreciate it.
You gotta bring this on. We need some weeks of this. We've got to, like, you know, really bring this out there because people are in need. These are hard times, you know, and guys, whoever's out there, breathe. Go home and breathe. Don't do anything. Call one of us, somebody. Talk to anybody. Sometimes that's all you need.
Please, people, when you hear her say that, take that serious. I could tell you, you know, how many times we've dropped like, yo, you know, some of y'all have Jay's number. Some of y'all have, you know, all of y'all have access to the DMs. I know that y'all have, you know, dropped a follow on Jay, have dropped it on me, you know, and it's like, you don't know if it's facts. You don't know if it's true until you try it. And I can tell you that because I have, you know, I can give you an example. I had constantly I tell the youth that I pastor, I tell them, yo, hit me up if you need to. I don't care what time it is, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Funny enough, I mentioned 2, 3, 4 in the morning because, again, we talk about when the battles are most difficult, right? And it's like, and some of them I've told them, like, or all of them I told, like, yo, if you don't believe me, try me. Because the thing is that I can go to the Lord at any time. I could go to him 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 12 in the afternoon. I can go to him whenever, and I know he's going to answer. So it's like, if you don't believe me, try me. And I'll tell him, even if I'm asleep, keep calling. You do whatever you got to do, and trust me, I will wake up and I'll get you. And I've had instances where I've had people hit me up. I've had some of the youth hit me up and be like, oh, snap, it's 2 in the morning. I didn't think that you were going to do it, but I felt distressed. And I didn't know what to do. So the only person I could think of to reach out to was you. And I'm surprised. And I'm like, why are you surprised? I'm glad you did it, because now you know that what God called me for, that I told you for, is the truth. So let's go. What's up? And then at the end of it, they're like, yo, I feel such peace now. Like, thank you. And it's like, you don't have to thank me. The Lord wanted to do this for you. You just have to try. So I'm glad that Leslie mentions this, because we've given the invitation. You know, you can get on, you can DM, you can do whatever, and we will be there. You know what I'm saying? Because this is something God has called us to do. So it's not just talk; it's facts. You know.
And you know what? Oh God, I said I was gonna leave, but I don't know. I feel that I have to say this. I'd rather lose sleep than lose you.
That's huge. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Again, we've been there, guys. You know that we know a lot of people who have at many times not be here, you know, and we're at a time where we've lost people that want to be. You know, this pandemic has taken people that we can't afford it. We cannot afford to lose people, you know, and it's not a selfish thing for us. Is that if you give yourself, and hopefully, you know, anybody that's listening, if you give yourself the opportunity to just be here, just a little, I know it sounds horrible when you're going through something, but if you give yourself that, you know, one more minute, you're not going to regret.
I'll share a quick testimony while y'all are on. Y'all know that last week the Lord spoke big. And what was the Lord talking about? He was talking about, like, you know, move forward in his purpose. He has a purpose. Connect with him in terms of his purpose. You walk in that purpose. And what are you going to do? You're going to encounter a land of giants, right? Yeah. Because what's the enemy? This goes back to the whole essence of what Leslie was mentioning here was fear. Now, fear does not come from God. You know, peace comes from God. Love comes from God. Fear does not come from God. So when you're there and you're in the land of giants and you're afraid, why do you think? Because you're walking towards a purpose. And the closer you are to fulfilling a purpose, the bigger the giant's going to be. And the hope that the enemy has is that you are going to get to a giant so big, so bad, so strong, that you're either going to be like, I'm going to turn around and go back because this is not working out because I'm so afraid. Or in some cases, you feel so paralyzed, so isolated, that you might even take your own life because it's like, I'm too ashamed to walk back because I've walked so far forward that I can't walk back because what are people going to say about me? Which God doesn't want you to walk back. That's not what he wants you to do. But at the same time, you're like, I can't defeat this giant. Like, I've never done this. And that's where, again, we go back into the word that God gave earlier in his word, which is like, I am strength in your weakness. Like, I win that battle. Like, I get the glory when I do that. But we lack the faith to do that. And why is that? You probably feel the guilt. You probably feel the shame. You probably think I don't deserve it. And you don't realize when you feel like that, then that means that you don't know who God is. And sometimes that's when you need to reach out to somebody who knows, that can tell you this is who you are. Pay attention. Let me tell you who you are, because I'm not going to be the one to tell you who you are. I'm going to have God's word tell you who you are, so you realize who you are, so you can walk in that victory. Because it's like, when you realize that you're a son or a daughter, you're a king or a queen, you're a victor. You're not going to be a victim. When you realize that he wants all things to work for your good, when he realizes that he wants you to prosper in everything you do, when you realize all these different things, that it's like he wants you to be victorious, and you're not going to lose, because if you lose, that means that he loses, and he's not a loser, he's a winner, because he got the victory over everything. It's like, when you realize that, you have no reason to be afraid. But the enemy puts himself in front of you, this huge giant, at some point, and you're like, you know, that's kind of like Ito was using that analogy of, like, you know, each time you beat a level, you got that boss. Well, we all know the final boss in the game is always like the biggest, baddest, and you could be like, yo, I've never done this before. This is hard. This is difficult. And you do have some people that try and try and try, and they lose, and they shut it off. They get so upset that they shut it off, and then they got to start from the beginning, right? But it's a thing of, like, when you realize, nah, I ain't got to do all that, though. I don't have to do all that. You realize sometimes you got to understand and meditate, like Ito said, meditate on the word, and you're going to realize why you're at where you're at. So how does this factor into testimony? So last week we were talking about, which I'm not going to divulge everything. You guys will know more in the coming weeks, but it makes sense. You'll see why it makes sense, but it's giving you guys bits and pieces. Last week we were talking about, you know, about the fact that when you, like, if you ask God for the purpose, you're going to walk in that land of the giants. And if you know that you got God with you, you're going to kick that door down. Like, it's not you kicking it down. It's God kicking it down with you. He's saying, let's go, let's kick down that door. So that doesn't, I'm not exempt from that. That's not a word that the Lord gives me. And then it's like, y'all take it and I'm gonna just chill here because I got nowhere to go because, like, you know, I'm good, like I'm perfect. No, that's not the case. And what I've found is that many times when God gives a word, he gives it for me first. Mm-hmm. And then he gives it for me first, and then to share with God's people. So in that moment, it was like, as I was getting that download, it was like, okay, this is for me first, and now it's for them. And so I share. So why do I share the testimony? Because it's important to share testimony, right? Mm-hmm. Because that lets you see that, like, he gets the glory in what you're doing. So I'm not exempt from facing a giant. So I asked God for direction. Jay knows because we connect every day pretty much. And, and, you know, at least via text, we try to stay connected. Right. And he knows that there are certain things that God has given me prophetic word from one person, and then from another person that doesn't know anything about me. And then from another person that doesn't know anything about me, like that none of them connect with each other. They don't know each other, but it's been the same word. And it's been like, all right, God, you know what? Give me the direction and let's go. So God gave the direction. He gave me a bunch of information. Jay knows on Monday, the Lord gave me, like, start writing down, start planning these things because these things are going to happen. And it was like, bro, I put it down on paper. It was all ready to go. Not on paper. I did it on the iPad, wrote it down. I'm like, all right, we got a plan. Lord, I know the questions I have to ask. Where is it that you want to go with this? So what happened? I decided to walk into a land of giants. So what happens? I walk into a land of giants, and then it's like, I'm not even looking for problems, but problems are looking for me. It's like all of a sudden, I decided to walk where God wants me to walk in faith, because I already got the word, but I was taking baby steps, and I decided, no, I'm going to put this down. So this means now I've got something official, because that's what the Lord was giving me. Write it down, because this is now something official. In fact, the Lord even went as far as telling me, there are going to be things that you're going to write down that are non-negotiable. We don't negotiate on that. If you want to do what I'm calling you to do, these things are non-negotiable. Here are things that are going to be negotiable that you're going to figure out. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. Let's see. And I start to finally share plans with a few people. I start to share some of the things that God wanted to do. And that's where all of a sudden the attacks came bigger. And that's all of a sudden where bigger things happen. To the point, being transparent, that I had to go to God on Tuesday night. Look at that. One day after, an afternoon after I started to share the information. Mind you, that afternoon, or excuse me, that early evening, I met with our young adults, and we had, like, some amazing thing. The glory of God came down, and a bunch of people got activated. It was like, big things are happening. God is moving big things. The enemy doesn't want big things to happen, right? He doesn't want that, because he doesn't want people to see ordinary people, average people that people know that shouldn't be doing anything. He doesn't want to see that others can see them moving in power, because they're going to be like, yo, if he can move in power, if she can move in power, if this kid can move in power, I can move in power. No, I don't want to see that, because you're taking the ordinary and you're in their weakness, showing your strength. So the enemy didn't even wait, not even like 12 hours. Not even. I probably waited like 4, 5, 6 hours. And then all of a sudden he starts bringing this stuff. He starts bringing this attack. And I'm like, man, but in reality, like, I'm not even like looking for problems. I'm really not. Like, for real. And it was such a heavy attack that on Tuesday night, I was like, I had to tell God. I had to tell him, yo, listen, I know where you want me to go, but if this is the attack that I'm going to be getting, this is strong. I don't want this. Like, it's not fair. You notice you start saying it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you start doing a lot of times. And I was there, and I had to, like, I was really down on myself, but I had to be it had to get to a point where I had to tell myself, no, but if that's God's purpose, let me rephrase this now. Lord, if that's where you want me to go, I'm going. But I really need you to help me out, because this attack, this ain't it. And Jay knows. I had to share with Jay the next day. I had to tell him, bro, pray for me. I had to tell him the next day as I was getting ready for youth service, do me a favor, pray for me. What's going on? What's going on?
Yep.
Bro, I just feel that the attack is real and it's heavy, and I can't.
I'm glad that you asked for prayer, because I please allow me this. I'm gonna make this the fastest accessible, and it's honestly it's for my own. As I hear you, I'm like putting it, because this thing I've had a year of, what is it that I did? You know, like, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And every time I think about it, so I had what for me was a life altering. You know, it could have been one of my greatest moments, right? And the night before that decision had to be made, I couldn't sleep. And I remember, I've heard God, okay? I've heard God. I know supposedly what he sounds like and whatever. But that night I couldn't sleep, and all I was being was, Mira, that was it. You this, you that, you that, you that, you that. And I'm like, you know, because of, and this is what causes that fear, because now you're attacking me, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been that.
To shut you down.
You know? Well, let me tell you what I did. Because this is how a lot of us work. So we're going to get strong, but we're not going to get strong with the word. We're not going to get strong with what we know. We're not going to get strong with humility. We're going to get strong with you know, with the toxic behavior and the wrong patterns, right? So of course, that's what I did. And oh, by the way, my birthday was yesterday. So
happy belated.
Yes. We actually gave you a birthday shout out earlier, but you weren't connected.
Thank you. But let me tell you why I'm saying that about the birthday. Because I'm receiving this now. Look at what a beautiful gift God is giving me, okay? A whole year later. And I get it on my birthday. Listen to this. So I'm like, oh, I got into the Leslie factor. And I hit life with Leslie-ness. And but I'm saying, oh, God spoke to me. Oh, but I was tormented. You understand? And this was supposed to be a great movement in my life, a great moment, something that was going to take me to another level. But I was so tormented that I went into the opposite. Let me tell you, what I did was what I always do. And that same day I got caught in what happened. I've been doing this for the year, because I can't believe that I did that. Only to come to terms, you know, within that time that, well, it was that I wasn't listening to God. I was listening to the enemy, the accuser. But because I'm so used to that, I ended up walking exactly where he needed me to be, to practically, like I said, kill everything, because even if he didn't kill myself, he killed my spirit, he killed the plans, he killed the time. But I'm going to tell you this. It just took me down, because I'm like, oh man, I should have known better. I'm 51 years old. Why would I do this? Why would I do this? Let me tell you how good God is. I got it. Well, I understood quickly. God doesn't accuse. God doesn't offend. God doesn't push you. That was not God. God would have given me peace. And I've understood that and forgave myself. Long story short, just today, okay, that's why I tell you with the birthday thing, I came full circle where now I'm supposed to be somebody coming into a situation, the same situation that I walked in with somebody else. And these people are welcoming me into their situation and asking for my help. And I'm saying, mira, it's so overwhelming. God is so good that me, a broken person, I'm broken at this age, right? You're asking me to be in a position that I'm not prepared to be for you. That's what God does. You see what I'm saying? And not only that, but I could get out of the situation because it's not final. And I know who the accuser is, and I know who took me out of it. You cannot have fear, because I'm telling you, fear took 24 hours of my day and walked me into something that I could have just died in. Because like I said, sometimes you don't die in your body. You die in your spirit. You die in your plans. You die, you kill things with you.
Yeah.
And I didn't have somebody at that moment. I had, we have. But I didn't, I was so overwhelmed that I didn't take that phone and say, hey, what do you think? Pray for me. Pray with me. That would have saved a whole year. You know what I'm saying, guys?
Yep.
But God, because now here we go again. And that's what God does. And now I look back, and that year was like 5 minutes of my life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
God does. Oh my God, thank you.
But you see, though, that's where we get into God makes everything work for your good. Even all that stuff works for your good. That's the very first thing. If you love him, he will make everything work for your good. Even that stuff. So it's not just future plans. It's everything that happened will work for your good. So that's a big thing. And then you get to like the lie of what the enemy does, his tactics to get you afraid. The biggest fear that he can put is like, you're not good enough. You're not good enough for the blessings that God has for you because you don't deserve them. You're not good enough to be saved. You're not good enough for any of this. He doesn't want anything to do with you. He doesn't want to bless you. He doesn't want to love you. He doesn't care about you. And it's all lies. And what God even says in his words, he says, I swept away your sins like a cloud. I scattered your offenses like the morning mist. And he even, like, he's clamoring for you. He's like, oh, return to me because I paid the price to set you free. And it goes back to what we said earlier. He who the Son sets free is free indeed. So if you realize that at the end of the day, he does want to give all this stuff to you, you don't have to have the guilt. You don't have the shame. You don't have stains on yourself. You don't have none of that. If you just realize that it's like, nah, it's somebody else doing this. It's not him. And I'm realizing that he paid this price, and he's asking like, yo, pay attention. Listen, I'm talking to you. Like, I'm waiting for you. Return to me. I already paid the price. Like, it's all good. Everything changes from there. You see what I'm saying? But sometimes we don't do that. Like, when I was stuck here, like I mentioned a couple of days ago, when I was stuck here with that, yo, look how dirty the enemy is. And it's like, instead of being like, yo, should I really be walking in this? Should I be going forward with this? Maybe I might as well just leave all this stuff, because it's like, nah, this is hard. It's like, bro, we were like hours away, like a couple of hours away from me seeing something that the Lord had given me in a vision come to pass in real life. And it was like, and a bunch of people moving in power. And it was like, why were they moving in power? Because I was obedient to what God had called me to do, and they were moving in power. And the enemy had me so twisted with a giant that he completely had me forget about what happened 2 hours before that. You see what I'm saying? How dirty he is. And it's like, yeah, I want you to leave it all abandoned. Forget about all that stuff. And then it's like, I'm not even remembering it. It's like, I'm not even remembering how I was used. You know what I'm saying? But why? Because I was bold enough to walk into a land of giants and kick down the door. And what the enemy wanted to do was like, but you're not supposed to be here. You weren't supposed to get to this place because a bigger giant's going to be at the door. There gets to be a point in which the land that you're supposed to possess, there's not going to be any more giants there. You're going to have kicked down that door so far down that you're going to possess that land. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have additional trials, because you know what the beauty of it is? When you go to the land that the Lord wants you to have, there will come a point in which he says, you took over this land. Now let's go take over the next one. And now you're going to encounter some different kind of giants you didn't see. But the beauty is that you already conquered a whole land. So right now, I know I'm knocking on the door of a land that the Lord's going to have me take over. And what the Lord has spoke about what's going to happen there, we've already seen glimpses of it here in terms of how people have testified about stuff that the Lord has done with them. So it's like, let's go.
And he's not a liar, Carlos. You know, God is not a liar. So if we know that God's not lying, and he said he got this, so he got this. Go to sleep, rest in him.
Exactly.
And let him do. And you know, but I'm here to say, even the people that say, you know, oh, I've lived, we make those mistakes. So Absolutely. It's okay. Make the mistake and know that tomorrow that will be resolved, because that's God. And you know what? The enemy's going to be whooped for it.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
That's all we need to know.
Just have to stay focused.
You got to stay the course. You got to stay.
You know, with everything that's been going on in this conversation in the past few minutes, what I want is people to put in the chat. You know, they don't even have to say anything. They can just simply, you know, acknowledge it, or just, you know, show us a show of hands, right? Just put a hand up, you know, high fives, whatever it is, who can relate to what just finished being discussed, right? When you're not looking for the problem is looking for you, right? Or problems, right? When things are going as planned, you always have obstacles presenting itself, you know, always, you know, and it's in the way we least expect, you know, you're having a great day. When you leave your job, you end up getting a ticket, you know. Some people can't afford those tickets, you know what I mean? And even if you can afford the ticket, you're giving it to the city, you know.
But press forward. Press forward, because the thing is that when you push forward, you're gonna get more. We've all been there. Press forward. You're gonna see it. That's the thing. And you know, it's just like the Job effect. God is going to show you that he was there. Be faithful. Please, please. Carlos, I'm going to ask you, because I for some reason I feel, you know, somebody here is going through something. I don't know who's here, but can you pray for those people who, you know, who feel defeated?
Yeah, absolutely. Most definitely. You know, if you feel defeated this evening, I want to let you know that you haven't lost. You know, you haven't taken the L yet. It's not a lost battle. And some of you, you know, it's funny that you say that, Leslie, because what the Lord was giving me was the whole reason that I had to share this testimony is because there were a lot of people that decided to go into that land of giants from last week, like believed it, like they were hyped to go in there. And it's like they didn't expect what was coming. You know what I'm saying? They didn't expect what was coming. And it makes sense, because for a lot of y'all, it's the first time that you took a leap of faith to walk in, to be bold, to have faith. And faith moves mountains. So the enemy doesn't want you to move mountains. The enemy wants to squash you. It's like he realizes that even if you have a little faith, that what you can do is so powerful. And we talked about it last week. When you kick down those doors, when you have that faith, it's not just, you know, this was not about you. Last week, that's what the Lord was saying. This was not about you. Yes, you're gonna reap the benefits, but there's gonna be lives of people watching you who are going to be changed, because this was not about you. This was about you getting this, you being the testimony, them realizing, them asking you who did it, you saying God did it, them wanting to say, but who's this God? And them learning, and then boom, they're walking in power too. And they're receiving. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all were babies in this. Y'all decided like little infants to go and walk into a battle because you were moved to go into a battle. You heard the truth to go into a battle. You walked in there, you got your butt kicked, you felt down, you didn't know, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so down. Why am I doing this? I feel like an idiot. What am I doing? This is not for me. This is for Pastor Carlos because he walks in power and he's anointed and whatever. This is for Leslie because she got experience and she believes in God. This is because of Jay, because of what he's doing. No, it's lies. The enemy's hitting you with lies. And that's why the Lord is speaking what he's speaking, because he's saying like, yo, stop, wait a minute, stop listening to that. That's not it. You're listening to the wrong thing. And that's why he's hitting you with today. I paid the price for you, not for you to go back, but for you to move forward. And nothing is coincidence in me. So when you heard what you heard last week and you walked in it, you had faith, you got your butt kicked. The enemy was hoping that you were going to walk back. You were dumb enough, apparently, the enemy thinks, to come in here today thinking like, okay, well, let me see where I went wrong. And he made the mistake by allowing you to come in and listen to it, because now I'm giving you more truth about who I am so you can walk in it. And now what you're learning is, okay, I was going the right way. And now I'm strengthened, because what's happening now is that where you had the mentality of, this will only happen to me because I don't deserve it, because I don't deserve this blessing, because I'm so wrong, because I'm so guilty, because I'm so shamed, and I don't deserve it, and I don't deserve his love, and I don't deserve his grace, and I don't deserve his promise, and the promise was for everybody except for me. The enemy made a mistake, because what he allowed to happen was that he allowed you to see that people who believe in him, who have walked in him, who are maybe the thought that they're anointed or whatever, that you would think that they're perfect, like they don't go through it. He was dumb enough to think like, we're not going to share the testimony of it. And now you get to see that it doesn't matter how spiritual, how much you believe or whatever, that you're going to go through if you go through that same land. But now you got a chance to hear that, like, we go through it, and guess what? We going through it with you too. We're gonna bust down those doors. I'm not scared. You know what? I'm not scared. I'm gonna go and kick that door down still. You were dumb enough to go ahead and try to hit me, so I'm gonna kick that door down harder. You know, I'm gonna knock that door, and guess what? The doors that the Lord opens, no man can shut. Nobody can shut. So if the enemy thought that by having a giant in front that he was gonna shut a door, I'm here to say now, you know what? I'm not afraid of that door, and I'm showing people that I'm going to open that door, and I believe that in the next 1 or 2 weeks, y'all are going to hear testimony of exactly what doors are going to be open, and it's time to go. We're about to kick down doors, and it's like, guess what? You're going to see me kick down a door, and you're going to be like, oh, snap, a door was kicked down. Let me go kick down my door. The enemy thought, like, I was probably going to go backwards and be like we've been talking about from the very beginning. I'm so ashamed. Let me just not say anything.
Yeah,
let me not share that I had to ask Jay for prayer. Let me not share that I'm going through it. Let me not share that I was like, Lord, help me, because I can't do it by myself. And it was like, no, I need his help. Because if you called me to do it, and if you called for me to if this is my purpose, if this is the direction, then you have to be there. Because if you said that you were going to be there, then you have to be there. And the Lord will never be caught in a lie. Not ever in his existence does he say, yeah, I was going to do it all those times except for this time. I'm the same God. I'm the exact same God. I'm the same God that told, I'm the same God to go ahead, that went ahead and told Jacob, right? To go back to his brother Esau, because Jacob's all worried that he's going to kill me because I robbed him of his blessing, right? This is the same God that said, go, I got you. Go on ahead and do it. He's the same God that told Jesus, go and die on that cross. biggest misconception a lot of people think is like, Jesus ain't go through it. Jesus said, can you take this cup from me? Because I can't, but let your will be done. So he went and did his death on the cross because the Father asked him to do it. Jesus felt it. He felt it.
And then he lived.
Listen, and then he lived. Then he got authority over heaven and earth. Then he conquered the grave. Then he conquered hell. He went ahead and what he said, that his apostles, his disciples, which mind you, that includes us. That's not just the apostles in the Bible. That includes us, that they would do greater things than me because I'm going to bring the advocate. I'm going to bring the Holy Spirit down to be inside of you, to light that fire. That is what the enemy is so afraid of. That y'all, some of y'all are going to have that Holy Spirit fire lit up in you. And the enemy's like, I can't have that. And the enemy, what the enemy's afraid of is that is necessary and required for this time and the time that we're going to be moving forward in. So he can't have you in that. So we're going to knock down doors. So get ready, because we're knocking down doors together. And tonight, if you felt defeated, it's all good. The Lord had us share testimony, because that testimony is going to help to lift you up, to let you know that there is nobody perfect. So there's not anything that he's not going to do for me or Leslie or Jay Mejia, whoever, that he is not going to do for you. And you just have to love. You just have to love him.
Because that's another thing that people don't understand. If you cannot pray for yourself, it's okay. We'll pray for you. Because
absolutely,
definitely.
Just like when you're sick, if you can't heal yourself, somebody will heal you, and then you can heal. If you cannot pray for yourself, somebody will pray for you while you get yourself together. Yep. And that's why these two gentlemen are here. God bless you guys, man. Because I'm telling you.
Thank you, Leslie. Same to you.
I'm gonna get out of here, because if not, we're never gonna leave. But listen.
No, it's been good, man. It's been good.
Thank you, Leslie.
It's been good.
Take care.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Take me out of here, Joaquincito.
You sure? I don't think so. We'll keep you here.
But we'll be here.
So we have Julio said we need her here more often. So keep that in mind, all right?
I'm honored. Thank you.
All right, Leslie. Love you.
Love you too.
Yeah, I don't know if we still, Jay, I don't know if we still have Angie with us, but Angie says she was next. I don't know if Angie got something to testify, but if she's with us, see if you want to send an invite.
I don't see her on.
All right, bet. If she pops back on, it'll hit it.
But remember, if you are on, Angie, let us know if you want to get on. Because remember, this last week I've noticed that there were a few people sending messages, but I was unable to see them on the list. So we'll see if she can hear us. Cool. If not, I'm sure she'll definitely send a request when she's available. Jane, thank you. If Jane is still on, thank you all. This was much needed for me to hear today. No, we appreciate you joining us, watching us. We really appreciate it. What I do want to tell everyone, after everything that was spoken, that was strong messages there, testimonies. Just a quick reminder, man. Starting today, what I want you is to be fully aware of yourself, fully aware of, your surroundings, fully aware of the situation you're in. Whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's in a relationship, a job, whatever troubles you're experiencing, always remember this. The attacks that's going to be your target. That's going to be the target. Whatever it is that you're going through is going to be worse if you focus on that, which is why we encourage to focus on the solution. All right. So if you're going through something with a spouse, an ex, a friend, end it, and when I'm saying by saying end it is squash it. It doesn't mean things have to go back to normal or, let's forget about it. And no, just end it. You don't need that in your life right now. You have enough to worry about. You're out here trying to survive. You're out here trying to, stay, sane. You're out here, you should be focusing on your well-being. All right. So that's something just constantly reminding throughout the live. Every time I'm on and we hit those topics, we always have to remember self. remember love for self, love for others, help yourself, help others, you know?
Facts.
So, and it's a cycle. You'll find help and healing in the through the people and in the places you least expect, right? As you can see, this platform is where we want you to find the help and healing that you need, in every way possible, you know, whatever that may mean to you. We're here for you, you know, and anyone that jumps on the live are here for you, because if someone decides to get on the live to put their story out, you know, not only are they probably asking for advice or, you know, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? But they're also willing to help others out by putting their story out on the live, right? This is a platform where we want you to feel loved, accepted. Like you mentioned, Pastor Carlos, many times, where there's no shame. You know what I mean? Where there's open communication. We encourage everyone that's watching right now not to isolate. You know what I mean? Avoid isolation. Avoid isolation. You know, sometimes it's hard for us to avoid that, you know, but definitely avoid isolation. That was a huge example that you gave with the candle, which you did. That was, and I hope everyone understood exactly what you said, you know. It makes total sense. We're here to guide. We're here to help grow. Not only ourselves, you, your children, anyone that's viewing, anyone that's watching us, you know, we really encourage. Just, you don't know how much we appreciate it. You know, it really does mean a lot. It means that we're doing a lot, especially when we receive DMs, messages, comments, whether it's through IG, just through all platforms. That means that we're doing something huge here. And whatever we do on this platform is really not us. It's even you guys being a part of it. Everyone that's watching, you know, maybe because you're on the live with us, you're having a specific conversation with someone the next day where you're helping them out, helping them get through with a situation. You know, the more of us there are, the better it is for many people that we're involved with, you know.
Facts.
So keep that in mind, man. Just keep it in mind, you know. Stay strong. Nothing is going to be easy. Life is not going to get easy. The older we get, the harder it gets. But life is beautiful. You know what I mean? Life is beautiful no matter what. Because like I said, hardship is what teaches us the most. You know, it really does teach us the most. It gives us the experience that we need for the next level, and to, you know, give it to others. I want to put this out here real quick. Julie, thank you for the badge. Really appreciate it. You know, this is you know, that this is what keeps us going. Because again, remember, we don't get paid for this, right? We're taking the time out to shed light on others and even ourselves, you know, because even when we speak, again, it's because of our experience and because we're applying. And even the things that we put out, we make sure that we apply. You know, it keeps us on our toes, you know. So thank you for that, Julie. God bless you. Seriously, thank you. Let's see who I want to make sure that I didn't miss any messages.
Definitely.
Yeah, just looking through the list. Cool. Okay, I didn't miss anything.
All right, cool.
I didn't miss anything. Yep.
I see Leslie just wrote, hardship doesn't last forever, that too shall pass. That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct. And I love the example that she gave of Job. A lot of people, you know, if you don't really, if you haven't really followed Christ or nothing like that, and you want to know real quick, Job is its own book. It's not too long, but long story short, the enemy, Satan, was tight, real tight, because Job was doing everything like God wanted him to do. And he's like, you only bless him because, or, you know, he's only happy with you because you bless him, right? And so God was like, all right, you could do everything that you want to him, just don't kill him, you know? So that right there lets you know that when you get sick, when you have hardship and all that stuff, that's not God. Because a lot of people are like, God's punishing me because no, that's not it. Some of it's your own consequences from the mistake you made, but others are the enemy attacking you, right? And in this case, you got to see the enemy was the attacker. God just allows. The enemy can't do something if God doesn't allow it. And God always allows it because he has a bigger purpose behind it, you know, something that you're going to be blessed with. And long story short, Job had crazy illnesses. Job lost his kids. Job lost all his riches. Job lost everything, where they were even like, yo, but what did you do that God is so angry with you? You know what I'm saying? Long story short, God, what did you do that God is so angry with you? But Job never went and said anything bad about God. And at the end of the day, because he was still faithful, guess what? Everything that the enemy did to attack him, God blessed him even greater. He ended up having more kids, even at his age. Yeah, exactly. I see Leslie mentioning even his wife cursed him. Like, why don't you just curse God? Why don't you just die? And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And because he was faithful, he was blessed. He ended up richer than he was before. He ended up, his kids were going down the wrong path. He ended up with kids that were not going down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he got restored, and he got restored bigger. So be expectant that whatever's going on, some of it might have been your bad decisions. The Lord can save you from that. That's not a big deal. Yeah. Some of it's going to be the enemy throwing stuff at you, throwing attacks at you. And believe me, I've gone through that. I'm going through it myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but when you get past it, you're going to be blessed even bigger than what you were before. So just be ready for that.
Yeah. And also, I want to put this out there. I know we're ending soon. The same way God speaks to people, always keep in mind, we also remember we speak about both ends. The enemy attacks are sent through people as well. So keep that in mind, which is why we have to be very careful and just be mindful as to why a person is responding to you a certain way, why they're reacting a certain way. Remember, you know, we're dealing with people, even ourselves, right? Because we're not perfect, that are full of trauma, right?
Yeah.
Some more severe than others, right? So always keep that in mind. Remember, the more you're aware of, the easier you'll take life. You know what I mean? And anything that presents itself, you're just gonna let it pass, you know, and just keep pushing, just keep moving forward. You know, understand that not everything's gonna be perfect. Not every situation is gonna be, you know, easy to get through. But I repeat, God speaks through many people, and the enemy sends attacks through many people as well.
Okay? Your battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of darkness. That's what it is. So when you got somebody coming at you with some negativity and all that stuff, don't get mad at them. You know who to get mad at. It ain't them. You know, and if you attack them, you're attacking God's creation. They're not the one doing it. They're being used. And if you realize that and you're like, nah, I'm not playing that game, you'll be much better off for it.
Yeah. And for those, you know, like I said in the beginning, for those who are having a great week, blessed week, you know, God bless, you know, remember, enjoy it. For those who are having a rough week, you know, keep your head up, you know, just keep pushing, whatever the case is. If the issue is with someone, if the issue is with your workplace, whatever the issue is, remember, it's temporary.
Absolutely.
It's extremely temporary. So just keep pushing, you know. Not every day is going to be perfect. Not every week is going to be great, you know. Every day is a blessing, though. That's one thing that I can say, because we're breathing, we're alive. Keep in mind, you know, I gave the example about, you know, what if your last day is next week, Monday? How would you react to things? How would you respond? How would you take things? Just when you run into any obstacles, just think about, you know, the conditions you're not in, you know, whatever that is. Just think about your health, you know, just be thankful for the good things. Even whatever bad you experience, just be thankful of the good things, because that's what's going to help you get through. You know, remember, you're going to have bad thoughts, people with bad energy, bad vibes. It's your mindset. It's your perspective, right? How you see things, how you react to things is what's going to get you to the next day, you know, sane, definitely, you know, and with less stress. So that's pretty much it on my end. Anything you want to say, Pastor Carlos, before?
Let me see. I see we got a few more people. Kat, bless up. God bless you, Kat. God bless you, your family. Thank you for the
yes, sir.
For the message there.
Yes, Cap, what's going on? Blessings, Cap.
Lodi as well. Thank you. It is a blessing that God can give us the word to bless you guys. You know, to be able to lift you guys up, because I know we're gonna have kingdom-minded people, and He's taking y'all, you know, forward. You know, He's taking y'all forward. So we're ready for that.
Yeah.
Let me see. Make today count. Be thankful. Let me see. I can't
That's
scroll
huge
up,
right
bro.
there.
I think you can scroll up. I can't.
Yeah. Be thankful for the bad too. Those are lessons that are meant for us. You mentioned that. You know,
Yep.
that's 100, Cap. That's
God
a
makes
fact.
everything work for the
sure.
good of those who love Him. Just remember that.
You know what? And I gotta put this out there because it's funny. You know, they did mention this earlier this week, man. I was about to burst out laughing. In Spanish, el enemigo anda desacatado, no bulto, and it's very true. There's days that is on 1,000. You know, the attacks are on 1,000. So, you know, just keep your head up, bro. Keep your head up, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. He ain't gonna
last much longer. I'll tell you that. He ain't lasting much longer.
Yeah, and yeah, God bless everyone, man. Julie Jules, thank you. Thanks again. Many blessings to you and the family. Hope everything is going good with business, with work, just everything overall. And that goes for everybody as well. You know, many blessings to you and your family. Again, we appreciate everyone that's watching, you know, everyone that's watching on IG, on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook. Don't forget, we're on every Thursday, 7:30. I'm sorry, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, 7:30 p.m. Central time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Selly's one of our new viewers. We really appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you received the message today, and you're definitely going to receive it every week, every Thursday. Keep your head up. Stay strong. All right. God bless you and your family. God bless you and your family.
And just motivation for everybody. Please don't forget, if you got testimony, you know, helps to build up everybody who is connecting to watch. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's connecting to watch is going to help to build them up. You don't even know if the testimony you give will help somebody down the road, you know, because I've seen people who watch stuff like weeks ago, and they're blessed by something that was said like 9 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So just share that testimony, because you don't know when or how that's going to impact somebody's life.
You know what? And I'm going to add to that real quick. If anyone wants to join the live eventually, you know, moving forward, you know, doesn't have to be today. Definitely, if you want to put a testimony out there, great. What if you just want to get on and just have a simple convo? You know what I mean? Maybe something sparks up from that, you know, hey, what's up? I just wanted to say hello and, you know, just give a quick message, whatever it is. You can even do that. It doesn't have to be a testimony. You know, just get on the live and just, you know, and just be thankful. Even if you want to say thank you, whatever it is, get on and maybe something sparks up. So let's see what we got. Look forward to it. Thank you. Many blessings to you all as well. Sally, thanks again. Thank you. Appreciate you for real.
I see Bumming with Jane. I was back scrolling on stories, came across this live. I was like, let me listen. This sounds necessary. If God brought you to it, believe me, He had a purpose behind you listening to it today. So trust me, there's going to be something that he's going to be doing in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where we can get excited and seeing what He's going to do. So just be expectant. Just be expectant and learn from what He had for you today. Trust me, there's a lot of us going to be kicking down doors, for real.
Yeah, Jane, thank you. God bless you and your family, Jane. Thanks for joining, everyone. And Leslie made a good point. Even to ask questions, that's okay. Again, anything can spark up from there. You never know what you're going to receive. You know, you never know what you're going to receive. So feel more than comfortable to get on the live with us, man. And in our platform, you're loved, you're appreciated. So, you know, just get on, man. Set for your side and don't worry about it. You know?
Exactly.
Sounds good. All right. So again, we'll see you guys next week. Please be safe out there, you know, especially in this crazy world that we live in right now. You know, stay strong, be very patient, Be very patient and have faith, you know. Remember, patience is a virtue and faith is the substance in any situation. That's universal. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night. God bless you all and the family. We'll see you next week.
God bless you guys.